Welcome everyone to This is a Revolution, your now twice weekly, for this week only, episode of This is a Revolution. You're joined here by George and Mr. Dave the Mark. Dave, sir, how are we?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm sitting here looking outside my patio doors here, and it is like frosty to the point of where you're like, can we call that snow? It is very, very wintry looking outside, and it looks gorgeous. And I've got absolutely nothing to do today we've podcasted
Nice.
before a busy weekend and then back to work on Monday. So it's kind of like it's my last day of just doing absolutely naffle.
hmm
I quite enjoy boredom
hmm
because I spend so much of my life trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
So like I work from when I wake up in the morning at like 6:30. I literally load up my emails and through to about 4:30. And then I go straight into what am I doing for Revpro tonight? Like
hmm
content creation, pretty much until I like go to bed, because that's how I like to keep my brain busy.
Yeah.
So when I then get these days where it's like I'm not going to do anything at all today, I'm just gonna exist and take in the world and just see where my brain goes. Like I can't have too many of them. But I do quite like them. Yesterday, I found myself being like, I'm going to watch The Hobbit. And then, like, literally from sticking on The Hobbit to now, I'm like, right now, I'm looking forward to watching the second one today. I'll watch the third one at some point next week. Then I'm going to watch Rings of Power. And you're like, where did this come from? This was literally a
Yeah.
whim. It was the first thing I saw when I loaded up Netflix. So,
It's nice though, isn't it, when you can do that? Because like I can be very much the same at times where I feel like I always have to be doing something, and I
mhm.
can't just be like sitting around like enjoying myself. So one of my things I used to be really into years ago was video games. That was a big thing
Yeah.
for me. And as I've got older and games of so when I was like 20 to 25, I buy a new game and I'm told it has less than 80 hours worth of content. I'm like, oh, what's the point? Now I'm like, sorry, what do you mean there's more than 10 hours of content in this one game? Like I'm an adult, I've got to do and it just overwhelmed me. So I kind of don't have because I don't
Yeah.
really have the time to sit down and put everything into this game. And I never normally take all of Christmas off at work, so I was back on the 31st, which was kind of like a bit of a check-in day. So I didn't have to do too much. It was just be around in case anyone needed me. And apart from that, I've been off the whole time since Christmas Eve, and I've just sat and played a video game that I've been playing, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. And like I think I looked at it yesterday, I put like 20 hours into it since Christmas Eve, but I felt absolutely no guilt, just that relaxation of, like I said, the boredom of just being like, what can I do? What have I got to occupy me? Because I know tomorrow I've got to go out and do the food shop. Sunday, I'm probably going to sit and watch Wrestle Kingdom in the morning, and then Revpro in the afternoon, and then Monday back to work. So
I'd absolutely forgotten that I can watch Wrestle Kingdom before I go to Rev Pro, can't I?
you can, mate.
Because
Yeah.
Portchester Hall is one of the shows that I leave the latest for because it's not actually that far from where I live. Um, oh yeah, nice.
Mm,
I look forward to that. Yeah,
mm.
it's funny because actually I one of the things I was going to do yesterday was watch some wrestling,
Really?
and I looked at it and was like, what shall I watch? This time last year, I put on a random Dynamite and a
hmm
and a random episode of Raw. And I was like, whichever one I enjoy the most, I'll watch the next episode of as well. And it's what led me to watching about maybe 4 or 5 months of WWE last year because I put on Raw and I was like, I actually quite enjoy this like slower pace. I don't need to be clued like properly locked into it. I can
hmm
just have it on in the background. I can go make coffee. I can still hear what's going on. Like
hmm
this is going to sound like some people would call it like a dumbed down version of wrestling, and some people would compliment it by saying it's a slowed down version of wrestling. And you can immediately see where that different companies for different people comes in.
Of course, yeah.
Um, so I was going to do that yesterday, and I put on Dynamite, and MJF came out, and he was going to cut his promo, and I paused it and was like, I don't want to watch this, because even like the thing that's going to happen is I'm either going to not enjoy it and turn it off, or I'm going to enjoy it and want to watch the next one. And then it's like you in the video game, because it's like, yeah, but then I'm going to have to watch Dynamite every week, and then I'm going to have to watch Collision every week, and then I'm going to need to find time for the pay-per-views, and you're like, I ain't got time for this.
It's that completionist mentality, right? Like, I
Yeah,
have
that's
that.
it.
Like, it's I can't just dip in and out. Like, I really wish I was one of those people that could go, right, I enjoyed this one. I'll come back to it next week, and if I don't enjoy it, like, I'm all or nothing. So I'm like, right, give me Dynamite, give me Collision. It's what I mean. You and I, we spoke about this when I was looking at doing AEW on this channel, right? I was that you could see the conundrum I was going through, because I was like, right, but if I do Dynamite, I've got to do Collision, and if I do Dynamite, I've got to make sure it comes out this date, because then it won't be valid anymore, and then I have to do this date for Collision, then I have to find time to do this, and just it's how my brain is wired. I have to, if I'm in the product, I'm in everything that it does. So that's probably why I've struggled with like looking at other wrestling companies when they put an event out here, or why I've really enjoyed watching something like an Eve or a WXW, in that they do a monthly show rather than a weekly show, which is is nice.
Yeah, I watched WXW last year for, and this is kind of me all over. I watched it for a few months, and then I missed a couple, and then it's like I just forgot about it. And
Same with me.
it's like the minute something comes out of my routine, I just stop doing it, and that can happen forever.
Yeah.
But this year, one of the things that I really enjoyed my trip to Pro Wrestling Chaos, and I've immediately looked at when their next show is, and I'm not going to go to it because Bristol is so far away from where I live. Like, if it was, the ideal for me would be if it was something like Elevation Wrestling, because all of their shows are within about an hour of my house. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, and they're not very often. They're like once a month. So I'd be like, I can along those, especially if they're like Saturdays, because obviously they can't clash with Revpro. But with Chaos, I'm like, I'm going to make the commitment that I'm going to rent all of their shows from the on demand. I think it's like $1.99 you pay for each show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try and make it like appointment viewing. So on like that Saturday night, I'll be like, oh, cool, I'm gonna rent it like an old school movie night and watch Pro Wrestling Chaos.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I'd quite like to do it with some of the other companies. Like I realised that one drawback from being like Revpro exclusive is a lot of the wrestlers that are based in the north of the country I don't get to see as often. Because obviously it's more expensive to bring a wrestler from up north down to a show that's in the south for Revpro, and there's so much talent down here that there's not necessarily a need to. So, you know, look at like someone like a Melissa Fierce. It takes them doing a lot of work to get on to the point where it's like, cool, we'll bring her in now and have a look at her for ourselves. Like Natalie Sykes debuting for Revpro last year was more of a, we need somebody at the last minute, and she was nearby and available. Who knows when that would have happened had that not been the case. So I was thinking of like trying to tap into like North Wrestling, and maybe like with, I think North Wrestling comes with Triller Plus, so I might get Triller Plus again and try that out, because
I think their ones is like, I think once it's been on for a couple of months on their service, it then goes on to Triller. I think you're right, or something like that.
Yeah. So it's just, I'm trying to find the balance between like that long commitment to something, like you talked about with like getting a game that's got 40 hours of content, and things that you can just pick up and put down and keep up with. I think it's probably why I've, no matter what, from when I first started watching New Japan to now, I've never tapped out of New Japan. I've always stayed with it, because when I first started watching it, I watched everything. And with them, it's almost like their product is designed so that you can do that, or you can choose not to do that.
Hmm.
So I've
Yeah.
not watched any of the Road to Wrestle Kingdoms, but I still feel like I can watch Wrestle Kingdom and understand all the everything that's led to here.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think
and
that's the
then
level I need to find to in New Japan because I'm that completionist mindset that goes, I must watch every match on every show. And
yeah,
I said to you how I struggle with these multi-man tags, right? Even though one side of my brain knows this isn't really gonna be much, this is just
yeah,
a match. My brain goes, no, you have to watch everything. So that means I don't watch everything and I don't watch the whole
yeah,
show.
and all their shows are quite long. Like they're not long in the sense that they're the same length as like a Revpro show. But
Hmm.
imagine Revpro being every day of the week.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that's a big commitment. They're much longer than a Dynamite or I suppose
Hmm.
they probably are the same length as a Raw and SmackDown because they're so long these days. But yeah, even to the point where I can load up a New Japan show and look at it and be like, I'm going to watch that one, that one, that one, that one, but I'm going to skip those ones.
Hmm.
And I am one of those fans that will say, yep, if it's a match that features House of Torture, I tend to skip it. Um,
Mate, life is too short for watching wrestling that you just don't enjoy.
Mate, yeah, this is it. Like
I say
I
that as a
always,
completionist.
yeah, I always used to listen to when I watched WWE and AEW weekly. I always used to listen to the What Culture reviews because I really
Mhm.
like Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick. And Michael Sidgwick always used to say that he'd got to the point where life is too short for average. Like,
Mhm.
if you're going to listen to a band, they've got to be awesome. If you're going to watch a film, it's got to be great. If you're going to watch a TV show, it's got to be critically acclaimed. Like, we're not
Mhm.
just, oh, this will do. Like, life's too short for that. In the sense that when you've got loads of other commitments, you
Mhm.
don't have time. So often, I will find myself with 1 hour a day to just enjoy something.
Mhm.
Well,
And
that
what are you
hour
spending that 1 hour on?
that hour had better be good, right? If you
Mhm.
load up a new TV show and 10 minutes in, you're like, I ain't feeling it.
Yeah.
You've wasted your hour because now you've only got 50 minutes and nothing lasts 50 minutes. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
completely get that.
But I love that as well, mate. Like that you're looking at these other companies because Chaos is one that I've been to a couple of shows that I really enjoyed when I've gone to see them. I agree with you as well about the like this sort of the north-south divide as well in terms of being able to get talent because it's like I said, it's hard. Like the costs that it costs the talent to even just get from where they are down this way. Like for every Young Guns and Rio, there is a Melissa Fierce who's trying to break through, get through. The ones that I still want to see down this way, that I've heard loads about over the years, is Miles Kamen and Scott Overman.
Hmm.
I've heard amazing things about both of those guys, and I know that they sometimes work progress. I don't know if they've worked down south with progress or not, but I just want to get to the stage where we can have more of these northern talents. It's feasible for them to be able to make the long trip down to then come and
Yeah.
work down this end of the country.
I got one Miles Kamen Rev Pro match at a season's beatings, funnily enough. 3 years ago, I think, in St. Neots. I
Nice.
think it was
Okay. Yeah.
2022. Um, I think he worked Zach Knight, if I remember correctly. I think it was
Okay.
Miles Payman and Zach Knight.
You know, I'm gonna. You know what?
It was a
It's
singles
new.
match. It was uh,
It's a
it
new
was
year.
um, it was St. Neots. It was my daughter's first show. I think it was the first one I ever took Sophie to, um, where she got. Oh, actually, no, I don't think it could have been Zach Knight. He worked, unless I'm getting my years muddled up, because I'm pretty sure Zach Knight worked Sean Jackson. Because literally in the very first match of my daughter's first ever show, Sean Jackson just completely locked into her and was like, "Here is a child I can bully in the front row," and she just thought it was hilarious. Um, Scott Oberman is one of those names where I see it a lot, but I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't know a lot, but I know enough people are talking, and that usually means there's enough there for me to check out and see what it's
Yes,
all about. Which is where Mars Cayman was for me a few years ago.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I've just had a look at both that match and realised as I was looking up, I have seen Miles Kamen live once before. That was at 1PW All or Nothing
Oh yeah, yeah.
2023 on a, and he tag teamed with Vusic. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Against Amir Jordan and Will Cruz in a dark match.
Who thinks
Pretty
somebody that I really want to see debut in Revpro at some point this year?
I've only seen that one match, so I don't. I've again, this is one of those ones where northern-based wrestlers at the time,
Yeah.
just I didn't know much about, but yeah,
It felt like it was inevitable for him in Revpro a couple of years ago because he used to come to all the shows and watch from the
did he?
crowd.
Okay,
He was like a regular at the 229.
didn't know that. Yeah,
And he's been and the progress he's made from then until now is like really noticeable. Like he's put on a lot of size. He seems to have really like honed in on who he is as a wrestler.
hmm
And it's I think it's one of those ones where it will happen. Like
yeah,
it's not like I hope at some point it will happen. Like I think it's inevitable that it will happen. It's just a
yeah,
case of it's like always. I obviously I have conversations about wrestlers a lot with especially with like Craig Armand at RevPro. Um, um, and it's nice. Like sometimes, like I get my opinion asked of people, and we'll raise names together and stuff. But it always comes back to that point of there are so many talents, and there are already so many people within RevPro who are working regularly.
hmm
And if you're going to bring somebody in, who are you going to leave off the card? And then you've got all the people that are already on the periphery. So you've got like take like a James Ellis, where you're like, well, he's come in, he's had his debut match, he's come back for a couple more matches, but he's not yet a Leon Cage who's done that and stayed and has now got a permanent
established. Yeah,
spot. Look at like Shane Hook, he's done 4 shows in a row now. So is he going to be on the Portchester Hall card? Is he going to be 5 in a row, or has he lost his spot to someone else and now has to kind of cycle in and out every 3 or 4 shows,
hmm
like a Harry Milligan does or a Cameron Clyde does, or is it a case of he's done his 4 shows now? We'll come back to him in 6 months' time, see where he is at
yeah,
that stage of his career. We'll come back to him in a year's time. Like, it's really, really difficult because I've said it loads of times before. RevPro is a destination company. Like, it's not like it is seen by British talents in a different light to a lot of the other companies. Now, that's not to say that it's the only company that's like that, because I'm sure that they see progress in the same light. I'm sure that they see other companies as well in the same light, in the sense that this is a company with a lot more eyes on it,
hmm
where I'm guaranteed to get like a really high quality match that's going to be documented with high quality production, where when it appears on my cage match, that actually adds to my resume when I'm sending off my my kind of CV, if you like, and my list of accolades and things.
hmm
I'm going to include I've appeared for RevPro. And when I send off my matches for other promoters to look at, I'm going to send the match I had in RevPro off because it's going to be well produced. It's going to make me look good.
hmm
Like, so that the talent want the bookings. It's just a case of the fact that, and you look at the fact that when we came back from the pandemic, most shows were 6 matches.
hmm
Now most shows are 8 matches. Your call cards used to be 8 matches. Now the bigger shows are 9, sometimes 10 matches.
hmm
Like and look at those storylines that we're seeing, like how a lot of what happens with certain wrestlers happen in certain towns.
yeah,
And a lot of things are regionalized because you don't want to put somebody on every single week because that's limiting the space for other people.
hmm Yeah.
So yeah, I am looking forward to watching a greater variety of people. Spinebuster TV was my first kind of insight into that, because I started watching that maybe this time last year, and the number of people, I'm like, oh, this person's really cool. I've never heard of them before. And then you start following them and seeing bits and pieces of them, and the number of people that Spinebuster have worked with that I've now starting to see being booked elsewhere. It's
Yeah.
like it's a really good platform to again get high quality production out there.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a real proving ground kind of place because it's not an
that's it.
affiliated company as such. It's not one where they have to worry about like, well, I suppose they do because they do still have the narratives and storylines that they push through, but it's different to what the other companies are in the sense of they have
Yeah,
to rely on people to get you physically through the door to go
yeah,
and buy a ticket. That they need you to be buying an on-demand service and all of that is a very different prospect. And it's
yeah,
been quite interesting watching your journey with that because, like, I won't profess that I've sat and watched much Spinebuster media because, like you said, unless it's in my like directly, can't be my periphery, it has to be directly in front of me. I will
yeah.
forget it exists, and that's a lot of it with me. But every time I do see stuff come up, I'm like, this looks amazing how it's filmed and all of that sort of stuff. But it's been an interesting journey to watch for you. It's almost like you've got like a dam and it's just burst. And now like Dave Lamarck is at Pro Wrestling Chaos. Dave Lamarck is looking at this. Dave Lamarck, but for someone that is so
Mega Slam
strongly
Wrestling next month.
recognized, see, there you go. Like, who'd have said that a year ago? But for someone who was so strongly identified, I suppose, with a particular product, because as you've said, like for you, it just helps you reconcile the world, right? Because
Yeah, that's
how I
it.
look at it is almost when you go to different companies, it's like multiverses, right? It's
Yeah,
that you're stepping into a different multiverse and you're seeing these two who are here in this company wrestling are heel and face, but in the other company, they are heel and face.
yeah.
In this company, they hate each other. In this company, they're teaming with each other. It's
And quite cool to see wrestlers range.
Mhm.
So to be able to see someone and be like, okay, so for example, I've only ever seen face Michael Oku,
Yep.
but lots of people can turn around and say, oh, but his heel run in Purpose was like shows you how much more he can offer. And I've only ever seen like very serious wrestler Luke Jacobs. And then you can be like, but his matches with Harry Milligan in Modern Nomad are like completely different because of the comedic element. And although
Yeah.
Luke's still the very serious person in that comedy match, it's still Luke Jacobs in a comedy match, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that idea of it, and I always said the reason why didn't want to watch lots of other companies was not because I didn't think I'd enjoy them, it was because I feared I would enjoy them too much,
Yeah.
and then
I
I
get
would
that.
start to want to go to those companies as well. And I push my luck with my misses enough already. We did on New Year's Eve. We had a couple of friends round, and we did a quiz. And one of the rounds in the quiz that I didn't know about, the missus did. The missus did the quiz. She just asked me a few questions. She was like, "I just need some facts from you as for something I'm doing on New Year's Eve." But she asked me ages ago, so I've forgotten all about it. And it was, how absent has Dave been this year? And it was, there are 52 weekends in a calendar year. How many of those weekends did Dave go to professional wrestling?
I'm gonna guess this. I'm gonna guess this, right? So I'm thinking of the amount of shows that Revpro had last year, and they were UK based. And then I'm also thinking of because there was weekends which had shows, as
Yeah,
in big shows, non-regionals, and then that was it. But there was some that had, I think this year had a big show and then a regional the next day, so that counts as the same weekend.
yeah.
I'm going to guess. I'm going with 43 weekends.
That's a really good guess because it was 43 shows, but I think it was 41 weekends.
Okay.
But yeah. And then you're like, how many miles and how many hours out of the house is that? Because every London show, you've got like the London for me is it's about 120-mile round trip.
Okay.
But then Cardiff was a 360-mile round trip. And Southampton is a 280-mile round trip. So you look at it and you're like, it probably works out to be about 100 miles on average, given how many London shows there are, about 100 miles a time. So you're then like, okay, so that's like 4,500 miles.
God, and an hour's away. That must be something stupid like 6. I was gonna say no, maybe 6,000 is too much, but
well, so I reckon on average, I'm out of the house for I'd say 10 hours on a wrestling show day. Normally, like
600 is what I meant. Yeah,
midday until 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like 43 of those. But yeah, just silliness. So can you imagine if I was then like, oh, there's no Revpro this weekend, so I'm going to here, and I'm going to Revpro on Sunday, but on Saturday night I'm going to go here. It would just get silly. On the other hand, I'm hoping that I'm not hoping actually. I'm just expecting Revpro is going to become a bit more of a family affair this year. Because Phoebe's already like, can I come to wrestling on Sunday? And I'm like, and lots of big barriers that she used to have come down. Because it used to be, oh, you can't come, darling, because it's in Sheffield, and Sheffield you have to be over 18. Mm-hmm. Then it was over 14. Now it's all ages.
Yeah.
So she can come. And then there were other ones where, like both Southampton and Sheffield, I have a stand-in ticket as my season ticket. And she'd be like, oh, I don't want to stand up. And then she came to Seasons Beatings last weekend and she loved standing up. Like, she was like, I get to move around. There's a bit more freedom. She's a fidgety little girl. I'm pretty sure she has ADHD. Shock in our family. So she's immediately been like, no, that's cool. I don't mind that. That's fine. And then you look at the next 3 Revpro shows are London, Sheffield, Coventry. So this weekend in London, she's almost certainly going to come to. Sheffield, we might give it a go because although it is further away and it's on a school night, I tend to get home I still tend to get home at a reasonable time because the shows always finish a little bit earlier, except the last one randomly. And then Coventry's like her regular joint anyway. So Phoebe DeMark, a regular at wrestling next year.
Look at that. Double the cost for you now, though, mate.
Well, mate, that is it. Yeah. This is it. I'm like, should I just get season tickets? I'm like, I can't afford 2 season tickets per person.
Yeah.
But no, I'll just do it as and when. And
we go. Yeah, bless her. By the way, just to go full circle back round to it, we finally got one where your memory has failed you a little bit, Dave. So you were right there when you said Zach Knight, and then you said no, it wasn't. It was Luke Jacobs.
Was it? I thought Luke Jacobs wrestled Chris Bronson. Was Chris Bronson on that card?
Let's have a little look, mate. You were right. Season Beatings 2022 was when it was. Let's have a little look. Is this where we're going to find that Luke Jacobs had 2 matches or something?
No.
It was a young man. You might have heard of him called Gabriel Kidd against Chris Bronson.
Yes. Yeah, because there were 3 matches on the card which were like heavy hitters. So Zach, Gabe, and Luke, and all 3 of them were wrestling like kind of dickhead heels, being Cayman, Sean Jackson, and Chris Bronson. Although Chris Bronson and Gabe Kidd was a bit more like just like a hoss fight. Yeah, but it was still very much because I always find whenever it's St. Neots, there's very clear heel face dynamics.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
especially Christmas family show. Was the main event Michael Oku and Mad Kurt versus the Greedy Souls?
No, that was the sub-main event. The main event was a best 2 out of 3 falls match for the undisputed British Cruiserweight title.
Yes,
Robbie
yes,
X and
yes.
Will Caven.
Robbie X and Will Caven, yes.
Yeah. And that was the point
Yeah.
we were still having Southside women's title matches as well.
Yes, Lucia Lee and who would it have been? Sky Smithson? No. Danny Luna.
Danny
No.
Luna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny Luna, Lucia Lee. And you know what, when you're talking about like when you're watching other companies and stuff and seeing different range of people, the first person that jumps into my mind is Lucia Lee alongside Sapphire.
Yeah.
Because I've said it, I keep saying it, and I've said it a lot, that when I saw them at Chaos, and Lucia Lee, who I'd only ever seen playing this like really plucky babyface contender of Revpro, and then she's this like confident dickhead heel. And
Yeah.
Sapphire Reed is the fucking plucky babyface. Like, wrestling's mad, mate. It's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Right. Before we crack up with these awards, Dave, just a few bits of any other business. Obviously, we launched our episode with Andy Quilton, our interview episode. That was enjoyed that so much. It's funny because I've had messages from people who have all said the same thing to me. I bet you could have interviewed him for another 12 hours. I'm like, yes, yes, I could. Like, I did
had
not
similar
feel like,
messages.
yeah, when it was done, I did not feel like I was. It was funny because I messaged Andy and said thank you afterwards, and he said, "Hope you got everything you needed from it." And I almost wanted to go back and go, "No, I didn't. I need another 12 hours." But yeah, it was like that. It was like, did I feel like I got everything I needed? Absolutely, but at the same time, not at all, because it was like there's so much more I want to ask. That's a brilliant time when you come away from something like that. We had the same with the very first interview we did with Manders. I remember we came away again. We could be here for another 3 or 4 hours, and I think the reason we didn't that night was because it was late in the evening. He was good to go for longer if we wanted.
Yeah.
But currently,
I think that's kind of our style, though, mate. In the sense that we don't like prepare tons of stuff for an interview. We don't have set questions. We don't have a set format. We just shoot the breeze, like just chat. And I really like that because you never know where the conversation's going to go. Like,
no,
I remember our one with Zach Knight's one of my favourite ones because it just went off in all sorts of random directions, which I really enjoyed. I suspect that we'll get plenty more opportunities to chat with Andy as well, and hopefully we can get him into sort of like do a mid-year one and an end-of-year one as well.
Yeah, that would be really good. And I think looking at numbers, we're currently on 90 views on that. It's our top trending video of our last few that we've had, as a shock to no one. You bring the Legrand fromage of Revpro onto the podcast, and people tune in because they want to hear what you're saying. So thank you to everyone that's checked that one out.
Is it up on Spotify as yet? Do we know?
It is up on Spotify. I don't know what the issue was. It was there. It was uploaded. It was scheduled for some reason. It just didn't launch, but it launched last night on Spotify.
Spotify can be a bit sketchy like that, though, can't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's funny. There will be some people listening to this go, "Hey, some of your old episodes dropped off of Spotify," and I worked out what it was. It was the reason now we don't have the music at the beginning of the podcast. So that was royalty-free music. But now, for whatever reason, Spotify detects that as copyrighted music now. So what Spotify do is they just take your episode down.
Yeah, it's probably like terms and conditions of that music have changed now, so it's not entirely royalty free, but it was 2 years ago, whenever we started doing this.
And on YouTube, all it does is it tells you something's copyrighted and you can't make money from it. And look, I would love both to make money from things. So if you are watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. If we get to that magical 500 number, we can start having ads on our videos. Now, I know some people will be saying, no, don't want ads, but it would be nice to make a little bit of money from this, if nothing else. All it will do is literally pay for one show ticket. Yeah, that'd be lovely. But
let's face it, any more money that we earn will probably just get spent on merch and
100% it would. I always said if we could monetize this in any way, shape, or form, like through ads, I'd use it to buy a new laptop for the pod, and I've done that already. So yeah, merch and stuff like that. Also, Dave, I don't know if you were keeping abreast of Twitter last night, but I potentially brokered a match for the Wembley show.
Yes, I did. I saw that. That made me happy.
So I've it was really funny. Every time I see Dex posted about things, again, what do we want? What do we want? I always do the same cheeky thing because I know it's never going to happen, right? Look, I'm not sitting here going, this is actually going to happen. If it does, that would be lovely, right? That would be lovely. But I never actually expect them to reply or anything. And I'm just sitting there playing my video game and just saw mentioned by Dax Hold. I'm like, sorry, what? And yeah, then I just see it all popping off between him and Ethan sharing pictures of them both with their title belts and everything. And I'm seeing all the people liking it. And then so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to be cheeky. I'm going to tag Revpro because I know Andy looks at that, right? And I'm just going to be saying, book this match, basically. And I saw Sarah Hatch likes that. I saw Craig Almond liked it. I'm like, oh, we're getting some
Ain't
names
that
here. So
it's the match, isn't it? Like it is the match because when you think of like Brit Rest and European wrestling tag teams, it's like Sunshine Machine, Young Guns, like obviously you got like Diamond Eyes and stuff like that. Like there's but Sunshine Machine and Young Guns, I think, are like the two that are the most kind of Rev Pro wise, at least. They're like the
yes.
two biggest tag teams. And then you think FTR, which of those two matches do you most want to see specifically with FTR? And it's like Dax Harwood and Luke Jacobs, Cash Wheeler and Ethan Allen. Like, yeah, that's the one. There's loads of like Sunshine Machine dream matches I have. And one with FTR absolutely is on the list. But the Young Guns match is the match.
And I think, look, it's a testament now. As much I'm saying about this and saying I'd love this, and I don't actually expect it to happen. It's a testament again to what Revpro's been doing over the last few years that we can sit here and we can talk about this as if it could legitimately happen.
Yeah.
Because, Dave, what are we on now? Because if he picks us up, where are Revpro on? They're on the
road to Wembley.
There we go. There we go. Seamless. I'll cut that a little bit out in the middle and just pretend that didn't happen.
But mate,
right.
like so I was looking through. I was doing like a little count up last night of like all the different stuff that I've done this year, and I counted how many lists that I'd made, and I found one of the lists which was the 2025 predictions. Basically, I made a list from stuff we'd said on this podcast.
Okay, shall we go through those before we get into the awards?
We got like almost all of them right.
Did we? What did we say?
So we said that Alex Windsor would be champion this year or last year. We said that David Francisco would get a title shot in Southampton. We said that Young Guns would win the Undisputed Tag Team Championships.
Much earlier than I was expected.
Yep. We said Ricky Knight Jr. would become Undisputed British Heavyweight Champion.
We did, didn't we? We said didn't we say he'd actually be walking to the anniversary show with the belt or something?
We said he'd win it at high stakes. But
okay.
We were like one big show off. There was quite a few in there. Like we even got a few like this person will debut in Rev Pro. It's actually easier to remember the ones we got wrong than the ones that we didn't get right. Like one of the ones that we'd said was, and I think it was me actually more than it was you, saying that Stephen Wolf would win the Cruiserweight Championship.
I would have expected that.
We said that Will Caven would wrestle Leo Rush and beat him.
Yeah,
like some real specific ones in there. GYV versus Young Guns, and we got it twice. Like so, FTR versus Young Guns this year in a Rev Pro ring. Yeah, why not?
There's our prediction.
We've got good track record for pulling these predictions off. So there you go. First prediction is 2026.
I'm just putting it out there on record now. If this somehow happens, if first interview is us, we're calling dibs on that. Right, Dave. We're doing what we do, and we've just chatted for basically an hour, I think, or 40 minutes, just shooting the shit. And we're here for an award show, mate. Second award show. I love doing this stuff. So thank you to everyone who contributed, who took the time. So what I did differently this year, as you will have seen, Dave, but just for those who may not have got involved in the process, I put a Google form out there and just said, fill out this form with loads of different categories: best men's division wrestler, cruiserweight division wrestler, women's division, tag team, and a few other things in there as well. But I gave a little box this time to say why, rather than just adding lots of random notes, because I really wanted to hear people's thoughts on why things as well. So everyone took the time, and what I noticed this year, and this is really interesting. Last year when we did this, there were a lot of blanks because people just weren't watching a lot of regional shows because
Yeah,
they
yep.
might have been London-based people that weren't watching wider afield, or they might be Sheffield who just weren't watching anything else. I think I got that twice this time. Pretty much everyone had filled in, I would say, 75 to 80% of answers available.
Really, like, Andy said it, didn't he? On the interview, the on-demand numbers are massively up this year from last year. The attendances in every single town and city are up. And I think
Yeah.
it just goes to show that there's more and more investment, as opposed to, oh yeah, I pop along to Southampton every 2 months and it's like a good
Yeah.
day out and I have a couple of beers and I watch some wrestling, and then
Yeah.
this David Francisco fella's fun. Like, the
Mhm.
less of that and more of a kind of investment week to week.
Yeah. I just realised from what we're wearing today as well, Dave, that we're both repping the different partnership size of Amira today.
Yeah, got my Now We Play and my Sunshine Machine hat.
I thought that's what that was. Mine's a Will Caven hat. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There's just
Mate, if it was a Will Caven hat, I'd be
no,
buying that. Will Caven, bring
yeah.
out a hat.
This is Washington something from the baseball.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was a Wonder Woman hat.
No, no, no. I understand why you're saying. I hate nothing against Wonder Woman, but no, it's Washington something. I can't remember their team name. From the one time I went to Washington DC, and I
Is
thought
that
I'll
from
buy
the
the
egg
hat.
tracing?
The what? Sorry.
Is that the one where they throw the ball and run after it?
No,
Or is it the one where they bounce the ball and run after it?
no, it's Fancy Rounders, mate.
Oh, the one where they hit the ball and run
Yeah,
after
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Got ya.
exactly. Yeah. Right.
All right.
So Dave, you know what? I've gone through all of the answers. I've totted them all up. It's been really interesting actually looking at these, and we'll get into them. In some areas we've had some real runaway winners. In some areas we've had some real like close calls and some ties as well. So I'm interested to see what we've got coming out of this. So without further ado, shall we get started?
Yeah, and I literally know nothing. I only know what I voted and what Phoebe
Yeah.
voted. So
Yeah, and I wanted to do that. I was like, I almost sent you some stuff. I was like, if this was me, I'd almost want it to be a surprise, like get to
yeah,
enjoy.
no,
Like,
I like the surprise, because for me, like, I'm not surprised that some of them are runaway winners, because for me, some of them are like, well, obviously that person wins this award.
mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's not obviously, is it? Because everyone,
I'm
wrestling
look,
isn't art like anything else, and different people interpret the art different ways.
exactly, and this is the thing, right? When we talk about this, we say obviously. I can tell you now, like when we get to the tag team, there's a tag team that's been voted. I'm like, how have they been voted? And that's no disrespect in terms of, but which when you're thinking of tag team of the year in terms of what they've achieved,
Yeah,
you go, that's just not a name I would expect to be thrown out there. But it was. And that's what we said, everyone interprets it really differently. They love
yep.
different things. So, Dave, we are going to kick off with the men's division wrestler of the year.
Oh, big.
So I'm just going to tell you some of the names that were nominated, but didn't quite make the top three. And then I'll run through the top three. And kind of how we're going to do this is I'm going to give you the top three. I'm going to read out some of the comments that were said about each of those people as well, and then we'll get onto our eventual winner. So in men's heavyweight, with at the bottom of the list so far, Connor Mills, Leon Slater, JJ Gale. We then had RKJ. And we then had Luke Jacobs rounding out the top three. So some solid picks there. Names that any other year you would expect to be well up for being top of the could be top of the list. Like any of those names, they've all got their favorites, and people love those guys. But who do you think came in at number 3, Dave? Who do we reckon? Well, I'm not.
Just run through those names you said again.
The names I said again were Connor Mills, Leon Slater, JJ Gale, RKJ, and Luke Jacobs.
So, top 3 has got to be, in my eyes, got to be. You've got Michael Oku's got to be in there. Shah Samuels has got to be in there. Jay Joshua's got to be in there.
So coming in at number 3, Michael Oku. So taking the bronze this year, and I think was Oku he was our winner in this category last year, I think. But
I think so.
Yeah, let me read some of the comments we've had about Michael Oku. He had a long title reign and is in one of my top matches from Revpro this year. As soon as he had the belt back, it felt right. Consistent, dependable, and true main eventer. That was from our friend Mark Bradshaw. And then we had Chris, who said, in a year with multiple champions, Oku remains strongest candidate for Revpro Ace. Everything just feels bigger when he's involved, which I would agree. And one of the things that I think is really a really interesting thing is there's nothing wrong with third place, right? It's been a competitive year in this division, and Oku last year was nailed on for this spot, and I think this year he's really gone under people's radars a little bit in a lot of ways, despite the level of consistent output he still managed to have. It's been he's been brilliant.
I think of him as like comparative to a couple of people. He's in terms of like WWE, Oku is like their John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, that person where when you need, you can rely on.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that gets me the most is that like in AEW, there was always this thing of being like, you can always rely on Jon Moxley. You can always go back to Mox. Like when the CM Punk stuff went down, it was like, put the title back on Moxley. Like he especially at the time when it was everybody had a reign with the belt, and then Moxley was the first 2-time champion and 3-time champion, and Oku is like Mr. Revpro to me, more so than anybody else in the entire 13 years. So although obviously he hasn't been in Revpro for 13 years, but when you think of the names best associated with the company, and you think of Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll and people like that, where they were really, really prominent in different periods, I feel like Oku over the last 5 years has been the absolute standout, and I don't think any of the others were a standout for 5 years. Because even though when you look at Zach, and he's had the belt more times than anybody else, there was always at that time so much emphasis on imported talent whilst they built up the brand. So it would always be Zach, but there'd be AJ Styles, and it'd be Zach, and there'd be Tanahashi, and Zach and Matt Sydal. It didn't matter what level it was, but it was always the big English name and the big import name. Whereas Oku is everything. He's now he's kind of transcended British wrestling.
Yeah, and everything you said there is absolutely correct. But the things that I also take away from it as well is the non-in-ring things, right? So when you're talking about the Ace, you'll probably think about it in terms of, well, we're looking at it in terms of what he does in the ring. But I always remember going to a Revpro show, and this was before he lost the title to Luke. Every single show, you were guaranteed that Michael Oku would come out to match before the show.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
He was there all the time, whether that was Southampton, London, whether that was Portsmouth Guildhall, where no one else, it was whoever was helping out behind the merch desk, and Michael Oku would come out every single
an ambassador.
Yeah, and then when he lost the title, that stopped, and you noticed it. But the other thing that I noticed as well is every show that I go to, and he's at the merch table, he always has the biggest queues,
Yeah.
always, despite the fact that he's probably being the most accessible Rev Pro wrestler to
Hmm.
meet. Like, I think I probably met him the most out of everyone and chatted with him the most out of everyone, right? Because he's such a nice guy, such down to earth, and he's not someone that's dropping merch every other month. Like he will drop a bunch of merch maybe every 3 to 4 months, and then that will be it. But his consistent people are there going to see him. Like so that ambassador role is
Yeah.
is fantastic. I mean, you look, he's top five in terms of how long he's held the belt for, in
Yep.
terms of overall reigns. And I think actually, if you take out the IPW side of that, that moves them up to fourth place. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And obviously Osprey had the belt during the pandemic. So
yeah,
that every company's record reigns is skewed by whoever had the belt in 2020.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. And yeah, the other thing to point out as well in terms of this 2025, 2024 going into 2025 is the year that the most eyeballs have been on Revpro, which also means it's the year the most scrutiny has been on Revpro.
yeah,
Because with more eyeballs comes more potential for scrutiny. And there has been scrutiny across the year. There's things that we still like to see. I'm still waiting for that Oku heel turn. I'm waiting for it. Do I think it's coming? No, I don't. And I still feel it should come. But when you've got that much scrutiny and he's still as beloved as he is by people, like
yeah.
it says a lot, and how
It's
much reliable
testament
he is.
to how good he and Amira are.
Mhm.
And I do think that whenever you look at any award that's won by Oku, has to have that kind of like Oku and Amira,
Oh, 100%.
because they are
100%.
100% a package, and she brings so much to his presentation.
Mhm.
Obviously, she's not going to win Male Wrestler of the Year, but
She's going to make the graphic, though. I can tell you
him
that.
him winning the award would be remiss of us to not mention Amira.
Mhm.
But the fact that he has been Revpro career babyface, and although there are times when it's been rejected by part of the audience, the thing that I always have to stress is it's a small part of the audience. So the group of people that booed when he won the belt in Uprising 2024 was still a small fraction of a large York Hall crowd. And also he's incredibly good at playing upon that.
Of course he is,
So,
yeah.
you know, it's not like he's there being completely white meat baby face, like love me, love me, love me, whilst fans are booing and we're just pretending that's not happening.
Yeah,
He
yeah, of
leans
course,
into
yeah.
it perfectly, but it's still, when you see a Michael Oku match graphic, and you'd be like, okay, so this Sunday, Michael Oku versus Jay Joshua for the
Mhm.
title in Portchester Hall.
Tasty.
One, you've got immediately like that match is going to be excellent. Just
Mhm.
it will be. It can't not be. The two wrestlers are too good to not have a really good match.
Yeah.
Then you've got the dynamics going to be really interesting because you've got babyface versus babyface, but you've also got a really, really popular babyface and babyface who we've seen it all before with. So how
Mhm.
do we play on that?
Yeah.
And then you've got it's Michael Oku in a title match.
Mhm.
There's jeopardy
Yeah. Yeah, it
because
is. Yeah.
you know like you know how revered he is. There's no reason to say that Jay Joshua walks out of London with the title belt. So
No.
the fact that he can bring all of that 5 years into this Rev Pro run, 6 years in, 7 years in, I think actually technically if we're now in 2026 and he started in 2019.
Mhm.
But yeah, you
Yeah.
can't say enough good things about the guy.
No. No, you're right. So, Dave, coming in then at number two, Star Samuels.
Yeah, I thought that would be the case. I voted for Shaw.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
did suspect that he. Well, actually, I suspected that the winner would be the winner. I wasn't fully convinced he would come second because I know that, um, like, everybody's got their favourite, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think Shah is necessarily like many people's number one because he's not, like the young, handsome, hungry talent that we're all rooting for to go on and have a wonderful career. He's at the other end of it,
Hmm.
still just as handsome, I might add. But you've then got like the fact that he's come in and he's come in second. First of all, this time last year, Charles Samuels being wrestler of the year, I don't think anybody would have.
Would
Well,
not have had it on our radar.
everybody would be surprised by that. And secondly, I'm really glad that his hard work and, in my eyes, absolutely excellent output has been recognised because he's in the top one and top two matches of the year for me.
Hmm.
He's created the the two moments of the year which made those two matches of the year. In the sense that I look at the match and the moment being one and the same thing. Um, he's still like the most reliable person. You know what you are getting with Shah every single time, but it's never boring. It's never same old, same old. He's the way that he plays his character is like it's so on point. The the subtleties from ending every promo shouting East to ending every promo quietly saying East, like really intensely. The fact that I never quite know who's turning up to the wrestling match.
Hmm.
Is it the East End Butcher or is it Charles Samuels? Where does one end and the other one begin? It's
Yeah.
he's constantly the guy that I most want to go for a drink at the bar with and the guy who scares me the most. And that's such a weird like dynamic to be able to have,
Hmm.
but he's absolutely got it.
Yeah, he has. And look, I was one of those voices that was critical and saying I just don't see how it works. If you told me the output that we have post anniversary show would have been as good as it has been, I wouldn't have believed you. That's the one time I don't think I would have fully trusted the process being as good. I didn't, and that's not a disrespect to Shah. It's just how late in the game it was. And I say this without knowledge of what's happening behind the scenes, right? But it seemed like this was a pivot point
Yeah,
because Shah did he had a long period away before the anniversary on holiday, and knowing what a professional Shah is, I don't think he'd have had that time off if he knew what he was getting into. Maybe he would have,
yeah,
I don't know. But look, they did everything they could to get him ready. But what needs to be stressed is that when he was put in that position, he was put in a position that wasn't just right. We've got all this time to give you this great story and build you up. It very much came out of nowhere. If I lose, I'm retiring, and then he goes into the rumble, and you're like, "Hang on a minute, there's a rumble lost count," and you go, "Okay, now he's won the rumble. What's going to happen here?" Like this is all there was that build up to the anniversary. Then he's come out of that, and the thing that I've taken away from it is the actual depth. And I've said this last year. I really enjoy Shah in ring, but I didn't really vibe with him as the character. And in Revpro, characters don't have to be these big, larger than life people. They just need
no,
to be people with motivations, people with
yes,
depth. And Shah was a very one note character. He came out, oi, oi, East, and that was it. Every time. There was never anything that changed about his character for a period of time. And then we got the David Francisco match where nuance was brought into his character. And you're like, this is what I'm talking about. You spoke about range earlier, Dave. And that's what it is with Shah. He was allowed to show more dramatic range in what he did.
yeah,
So it meant that when you had the oi ois, the east, all of that balanced against the intensity. It
Mm.
meant more. And we talked about wrestling having meaning and feeling and emotion. And that's what Shah's reign evoked out of me more than anything. It is that feeling, that emotion. But also when he got in the ring with people, you had again people like me who go when Leon was added to Uprising, you're going, this is really good because this will help. This will help have more jeopardy, but this will also help the quality of the match as well. And then he pulls out, and then they go to Uprising and come away going, look, I was wrong. Like again, the match was good. Well, the match was great. So the quality of the match is everything about it. And it sounds like I'm again damning with faint praise here. Not at all. What the guy has done is he's been given the license to go, right, now you can run with a bit more character stuff. We're going to give you more range. The shape, and he's never been in bad shape, right? But he's obviously improved his physique over the year. And you look at him going into his title run as well, and he looks like a champion. Like he looks big, like he could beat the shit out of you, like all of that stuff. Yeah, it is. I don't think anyone expected the career resurgence in Revpro
Mm.
in 2025 that Sean Samuels has had, but he's all the better for it, and it's well deserved, absolutely well deserved. To tell you some of what some of our people who have voted have said, great run from the Rumble to the anniversary show. Him beating RKJ at the anniversary was one of my favourite moments of the year and completely unexpected. His work as champion has been excellent, especially his latest stuff with Jay Joshua, where he was fully healing it up. And that was from Dylan. We've also had being an absolute pro working talent across the roster and elevating those around him. Another comment says Shah has had what can arguably be the best year of his Revpro career, from contemplating his retirement to having to wear his old crusty boots to win the Revolution Rumble before putting his career on the line against RKJ and winning the championship. And some dude said, the arc this man has been on has been incredible and showed his full range and value. Some motherfucker said that.
Yeah, sounds like a mark.
Yeah, absolutely does, mate. But yeah, number two was Shah Samuels. And look, um, number one of the vote came in. I can tell you now, Dave, right? Obviously, I'm not reading every single comment that comes through because we'd be here all day if we read every single comment. So I'm picking a few out. So I don't want anything to be read into numbers or anything like that. But in terms of this man, he walked away with literally 2/3 of the vote.
Yeah.
Incredible. Look, I'm not going to pretend there's going to be any kind of jeopardy on this one as to who it is. Men's division, heavyweight division wrestler of the year, Jay Joshua.
He's undeniable, isn't he?
Hmm. He is, mate.
It's
And you know what? Before we go into our talk, I'm just going to read comments now because
yeah, yeah,
actually,
yeah.
this
Because
is what.
ultimately, mate, ultimately that's my word for Jay Joshua in 2025. It's just
Yeah,
undeniable.
yeah,
So it's like you can
yeah,
throw all the superlatives, we can list all of his credentials and everything that he achieved, but he made himself becoming champion undeniable.
yeah.
And
Um,
that's the biggest compliment I can pay him.
he did rise of 2025 from Josh. Another comment: his rapid improvement in small amount of time, his progression from winning the tag league and being a fan favorite to everyone and hoping to win the title. That was from Will. Southampton know who Will is. Phoebe has some absolute bangers throughout the year. Great to see him finally get his flowers and become heavyweight champion. Someone else has just put say less. Carried
Yeah.
carried a majority of matches in Rev Pro this year. Came into the year holding a tag team championship. Narrowly lost it in the match of the year contender. Won the Great British Tag. Then through the Great British Tag League versus Cowboy Way. This match against Ishii. Um, Current undisputed champion. So great in the ring and outside of the ring. No one had any chance to not like and respect the hell out of Jay Joshua in 2025. Growth as a competitor, came from the bottom to the top, having banger after banger. Love that one. That is so true. And
Mm.
the one that I've seen actually on a couple of comments, I'm just going to put it to one. most organic rise through the ranks I've seen in 6 years of watching Revpro. And I
Yeah.
would agree with that. I was thinking this last night on my trip between walking from the couch to the bedroom last night. Revpro was in my head, and I was having a little look and thinking like where like has anyone ever won the title so quickly after coming in or risen the rank? And I don't know. That's just genuinely I
No.
don't know. But I also had a look at the title history, and do you know already Jay Joshua in the undisputed British heavyweight title reign, not IPW lineage as well. He's already not the shortest reign if he were
Yeah.
to lose it on Sunday.
He lasted longer than Tanahashi, right?
He did, yeah, a couple of days longer than Tanahashi. So.
But the thing for me is like you look at the lineage of that belt, and
Mhm.
Jay winning it is an achievement that maybe newer Rev Pro fans won't necessarily recognize as just how impressive it is, because the
Mhm.
championship has only ever been held by top industry names and the top of the British scene.
Mhm.
So the only British holders of it have been people that have gone on to do like great things. And then you've got like Oku, who is Mr. Rev Pro and is now like on the cusp of doing more worldwide.
Mhm.
An RKJ who has time to go on and do more in terms of like global wrestling, but also is like the family name. When I can't stress this enough. When I first started watching Rev Pro in 2022, RKJ was like, him and Gabe Kidd were undeniably the best two heavyweights.
Oh, I
Like
remember. Yeah.
it wasn't even a competition. Like Luke Jacobs was still like forming the Luke Jacobs that we know today. Connor Mills was working through different character dynamics of who he was going to be. There was no Jay Joshua's, there was no Shah Samuels, there was no Trent Sevens, there was, Michael Oku was very much a cruiserweight. Um, Robbie X was very much a cruiserweight. It was literally who's going to beat Osprey? Is it going to
Mhm.
be a foreign import, or is it going to be RKJ or Gabe Kidd? And that
Yeah.
was literally they were and you had the people that were in Gabe Kidd camp and the people that were in RKJ camp. So the fact that RKJ is the one that did it at the time, not only did it feel right, it felt like especially because of the 2022 that Gabe Kidd had personally, like it was the only viable option. So the fact that Jay Joshua has gone from debuting a year and a half ago to now being the champion is
Mhm.
like unprecedented.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is, mate. It really is. Like what that lad's achieved in the last year. Like, we spoke about it that last year he came in and we actually said this last year that if Jay had come in at the beginning of the year and had the 12 months that he's had since debuting and this summer before this run here, right? So at this point when we weren't even contemplating a British heavyweight title win, we were just contemplating a tag league win, and we said based on that he'd have been number one wrestler of the year, we reckon, or at
Yeah,
least biggest debut of the year.
he would have pipped Zazaya to the breakout star of the year, and
That was
you
it, yeah.
you think like that's kind of nuts in itself, right? Because
Hmm.
Zazaya took the world by storm last year.
Yeah, yeah,
But Jay
absolutely.
achieved even more in his first 12 months. It's just that his first 12 months didn't fit nicely and neatly into a calendar.
Exactly. So you know what? Just a big Jay Joshua, men's division wrestler of the year. Say less. Oh, right. Dave, that then moves us on to women's division wrestler of the year. So I'm not going to ask you to go through and to name everyone who you think could be in the top three or even who was nominated. I'm going to be honest. This is the one that shocked me, and I wonder. I don't know, and I don't want to speak down, but I think of the women's division this year. You had a few main players, but it does show in some ways that maybe there's a bit of a lack of jeopardy across the division, or maybe even just people who connected with others. Because if you look at all the other divisions, we've got more than a top three. Maybe it was just someone who was so undeniable in this. I don't know, but the only one where we've only had a top three nominated, which is
Really,
quite
only three
crazy.
names.
Only three names, and I'll say this actually
No,
until cut off. The same did happen in the tag team division, but coming in at
that
number
doesn't
three.
surprise me. Actually, that doesn't surprise me because if if we were doing this in a sense where I had to name everybody that was nominated,
Mhm.
I would struggle to get past like 3 or 4 names, and then it would be a case of, well, probably someone picked so and so, and maybe someone's picked so and so. But for
You know,
me, there's 2 absolute standouts where it's like flip a coin between which one it is, and then there's a third one who's super super popular and has grown a lot this year. So I would feel like would get the votes to be the third.
okay. So before I go to the top two, then who do you think is coming in at third place?
Sapphire Reed.
No, Sapphire Reed did not make our top three.
Did she not?
She did
I thought
not.
she would be the one for the fact that like she's come such a long way. Is Alex Windsor the third then?
No, Alex Windsor did not make our top three.
No, and I don't think she should either. In the sense that Alex Windsor doesn't deserve to be voted for.
I don't think
But
I don't think she should make it.
But like the top 2 are so nailed on, I just don't know what order they're in. And then you're like, who would be the third?
So it's interesting because I'm just having a look now at something as well. Because I just want to see any other names that I thought maybe Emerson Jane could have been on there, like you said. Sapphire Reed could she have been on there? No. Number three on our list, and very deserved, I would add. Revpro Match of the Year winner, Rio. Rio.
But then, like, when you actually look at it, how many times did Rio wrestle for Rev Pro this year? Like 4?
I'm just looking that up. Just looking that up now, actually, because that's what I've been really interested to see. Actually, like in terms of, so Rio wrestled 6 times this year, which she's wrestled more than Alexis Falcon by 1 match. She's wrestled more than Mercedes Moné, Zoe Lucas by 1 match, Amira by 2 matches. She wrestled more than Millie McKenzie, who had 3 matches in Rev Pro.
I suppose maybe because it was all concertinaed into like the last few months.
Yeah,
maybe that's why. But like the top 2 have got to be Kanji and Mercedes Moné, right?
So I can tell you some names that we've not got in here that I would have maybe expected to see. Just a cursory nomination. That's why I find it quite interesting. No Danny Luna. Danny had 7 matches in Rev Pro. The one that did shock me quite a bit, and I feel deserved a nomination and didn't get one, was Nina Samuels. I thought Nina's had a great year in Rev Pro.
Character-wise, like she's and storyline-wise and like match-wise as well. Like I always enjoy Nina Samuels' match. Yes, absolutely, and she's been the kind of like the main character of the Cutthroat Collective. And handled that like really, really well. You mentioned Emerson Jane earlier. Like I feel like the quality of matches she's put on deserves some praise there. I just think, but then I also think that it's also a positive for Revpro that the import champion who they've kind of put the belt on and reaped the rewards from is obviously going to be a standout, but then also the woman that they have placed as her kind of forever rival,
Hmm.
and the one that they invested in is also in the top two. So,
Yeah. So before I get on to the top two, then just want to read out just a couple of the comments that caught my eye from Marcus. Best women's wrestler on the roster for Rio. High praise. I mean, she's fantastic. We saw that in the match with Mercedes, but anyone that's been watching Rio for any period of time just knows how good she is. And seeing her featured so prominently on the Wembley poster made me really excited that we're going to get a lot more Rio this year, because she's one of those names that's been synonymous with progress for a while, and coming into bits for Revpro, but actually to be a figurehead of the women's division would be wonderful. And Cliff on a fast track to become the number one women's wrestler in the UK. I would take away the women's side of that, if I'm honest. I know no disrespect is intended. I just think she's that good that you don't have to put any qualifiers. She could go on to be one of the best in the country, regardless of gender. Um, so, Dave, you said that you had two people for the top two. Yeah, put my teeth back in, mate. I'm going to tell you something really interesting about this top two, right? So, I said to you that Jay walked away with 2/3 of the votes in the last one. I would say this person's walked away. Number one has walked away with about 90% of the vote. So coming in at number two, Mercedes Monet.
I'm glad. I'm glad in the sense that I voted for Kanji as number one. And I think Mercedes has done fantastic work for Revpro. She
Hmm.
has been a great ambassador for the company. She has put on fantastic matches. She has delivered 100% of the time. And when Andy said about this not being the last we see of her, that made me really happy. Whereas there have been other times where when you know that someone's run as an import comes to an end, you kind of feel like they've completed their run. There's
Yeah.
nothing else for them to do. There's no reason for them to come back and take somebody else's spot, right?
Hmm.
But there's still so much. There's so many matches I'd like to see Mercedes Monet have. But more importantly, I'd really like to see how she plays into what happens for Kanji when eventually we get Kanji and Windsor.
Hmm.
And there was, I can't remember if it was yourself that said it or somebody else that said it, the idea that Kanji could beat Windsor prior to the anniversary. And then we get Kanji versus Mercedes again at the anniversary show, but this time Kanji's the champion, and Mercedes is the heel coming in the sense that although she's Mercedes Monet, she's never going to be an out and out heel because people
Yeah.
love her. But to the Revpro kind of core fan base, her coming in and taking Kanji's belt away would be seen as a very negative booking decision. And so she'd get the heel heat that way. So there's loads more that she can do with it. And I feel like it's been an overwhelming success. I'm assuming, you haven't actually said it, but I'm assuming Kanji was number one.
Well, before we get into the number one, Dave, let's just go through a few other bits. So, what I also want to just get out there was, I said to you before we came on, I set some qualifiers as to what qualified for different bits, right? So what I don't want to do is I don't want people to double up on awards. So I'd normally say that you can either qualify for the best newcomer or best international or best women's division or best international, best men's, because you're either an international import talent that comes in for a few dates, or you're someone that is permanently part of the roster. Okay, so I look at it like that. So people might look at these things and go, well, what about this name? They're internationals. Mercedes was right on the cusp of this, right? And in other categories, she got very, very big numbers on votes. And if I added those categories that could have been replaced by this one and vice versa,
Yeah.
and included them all together, she still wouldn't have beaten our number one.
Got ya.
That is the power of the people's vote here in terms of, so it wasn't even that, yes, the vote was potentially split across other
Yep.
categories, which when I say
Like best
high,
newcomer,
yeah,
best international, like best import, best
yeah,
woman.
when I say how high the difference was, that's just
Yeah.
to highlight the number there. But at the same time, like even adding all those together would still not have beaten the winner. That is the power
Good.
of who the winner was. So so before I get onto that, let's just read out a few comments. I mean, the CEO, one of the most accomplished and well-known wrestlers, to give her time, guidance, and 100% effort into what she's brought in to do Revpro in the women's division. All of her matches were box office attractions for British fans everywhere. She's really made the most of the year. I would agree.
On.
Absolutely done that.
Absolutely agree with that.
Mark Bradshaw took the division to new heights. Love or hate her in AEW. Revpro has been better for her having her in it. Agreed.
Yep. Agreed.
Chris, the closest Revpro have had to having a ticket selling draw and focal point in the biggest matches. You said this before. You've seen the numbers on the Instagram when like something of hers she's just on another level.
A
Won the title.
completely different level to anybody else.
Yeah, and then Marty won the title at the beginning of the year, defended it 4 times against different opponents, making them all look better. And that is why she was brought in. For anyone doubting why Mercedes Moné was in, I saw stupid fucking comments, and I'm sorry to put it as bluntly as that.
Oh, mate, I bet you did.
Why is Mercedes here? Not Danny Luna. Mercedes isn't going to be in the 229. Mercedes wrestled 2 fewer matches in Revpro this year than Danny Luna did. Okay, so let's be realistic here about why she was brought in.
Like Will Ospreay I always go back to 2022 because it's the year that I first started going to Revpro. So it's like the year that my knowledge becomes more than just I've read this, but I experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
Ospreay was a box office attraction for the big shows. And go further back, AJ Styles weren't working Portsmouth Guildhall and places like that when he was champion. Like you'd get the odd match like that every now and then, but also AJ Styles in 2016 was not Mercedes Moné in 2025.
No, he wasn't. That's the thing you need to remember is that AJ Styles. What would he? I don't even know what he'd been the equivalent to today in terms of the wider scene.
He'd been a top name in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He hadn't headlined WrestleMania.
No, so like at the time,
has there ever been anybody in Revpro or any British promotion or any European promotion like Mercedes Moné? In the sense that has there ever been someone who, whilst in the peak of their career, took time to wrestle for an independent promotion who had reached the summit of the sport?
Yeah, I don't think if we're classing the summit of the sport as being in a I'm going to use the WWEism here, a main event match at WrestleMania and not just feature on the card. No, there's not.
You're talking it's like the equivalent of in 2012 John Cena going on a run in an independent company. Or
that's exactly
CM Punk in 2011, like Jeff Hardy in 2008, like Triple H in 2004, or Stone Cold in 2001. Like it's nuts, really, when you actually break it down like that.
Although I will say, my friend, AJ Styles defending the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship at Portsmouth Guildhall against Mark Haskins. That just kind of sums up, doesn't it, what this company is all about. But yeah, like you said, there's no one who can say that they've done the same sort of thing. Like no one is. And like I said, the thing to add there is at such a career peak, because that is where she's at. She's at the peak of her career. Like there's still loads more to come from her. She's not reached the top of what she's going to achieve.
It's also it's a bit of a side note, but it's also proof that having a company like AEW in the professional wrestling landscape benefits everybody, because whilst we see the other side of it, you know, plans had to change this year because of Leon Slater and the route he's going to go down in terms of his NXT and WWE appearances. Plans had to change when the previous year with Stephanie Vicaire, and plans have had to change not just from WWE, but Will Ospreay going to AEW causes plans to change.
Yeah.
But all those people we just talked about, John Cena and Jeff Hardy and CM Punk and Stone Cold and Triple H, they could never have done what Mercedes Moné has done, because they wouldn't be allowed to, even if they wanted to.
No, she's an absolute true pioneer in what she's done.
Yeah, and hats off to like Tony Khan and AEW for allowing their wrestlers to support other promotions as well as the promotion that pays their wages.
Yeah. And look, Dave, we're going into number one. I think we could probably sit here and we could talk. We've talked around this person so much already. Like, I'm not going to build up suspense. We know who it is. All I'm going to do for this person is I'm just going to read through comments, because I think the audience sum up everything that we're going to say. Number one, with fucking 95% of the vote, Kanji. Second year in a row. Last year, Kanji came very close, neck and neck with Danny Luna. And I think in the end, it required, and I'll just mention this, I don't know if I've mentioned this, we have a rule where if someone is tied in a particular subject, if one of us have voted for that, then that vote gets an extra 1 point, because that's how we settle tiebreakers. It's our podcast, our rules. But last year, I think it needed the tiebreaker. I think the tiebreaker, because you and I both had Kanji as our number one last year, and she went over Danny Luna. Like, this year, it was just absolute washout. So unbelievable consistency, consistent but different, brilliant matches, consistently good matches every time. Standout matches against the likes of Mercedes Moné, Aluna, Charlie Evans, Yamashita, Emerson Jane. Hopefully, we get to see her as undisputed women's champion. I love this one. Another mark. She's my favorite. Technical wizard. Enough said. I love this one as well. She's just sick. The best wrestler in the UK. Yeah, the best wrestler in the UK. Her matches in Revpro this year with LA Taylor, Mercedes, Charlie Evans have been outstanding, and her theme tune is excellent. That is from Ewan. Hayden, on another level compared to the rest of the division, should have been the one to beat Mercedes Moné. Interesting. Sharon, outside Revpro, I've seen her have excellent matches against every gender. In Revpro, which is what I'm basing this opinion on, her story preparing to face Mercedes for the belt was the most interesting thing any female wrestler had outside the CTC story. She's one of the best technical wrestlers we've got. Best matches, best connection with the audience, and I would agree with that as well. Like, people love her, absolutely love her. Pure consistency personified on the majority of shows. Always one of the better matches on the card. Emerson Jane close second. Actually think it's impossible for her to have a bad match. Excellent match with Mercedes and Emerson throughout the year. She's just so good. Her 2026 is going to blow her 2025 out of the water. Dylan, that is a big, big, big statement there. But I hope to see it. Yeah.
She's only going to get better. And what's the key thing is, she's achieved all of that without actually having a spotlight on her. Like, without being, like, obviously she's had a big spotlight. She's been given big opportunities. Don't get me wrong, but she's not had the responsibility of carrying the belt.
Yeah.
And she will thrive with that. I'm certain of it. The only thing I will add, and I've said it before, but I'll stress it again. If you look at every woman that's wrestled for Revpro, like in the last 3 or 4 years, and you look at what their best match in Revpro has been, more often than not, their best match was against Kanji.
Yeah.
And I think that tells you everything you need to know.
It really does, mate. So, Kanji, an absolute deserved winner for best women's wrestler. Cruiserweights. So, we had 5 different wrestlers nominated on Cruiserweights. So, narrowly missing out was Chris Ridgway. who had an injury earlier this year, but when he's been around has been great. Hopefully, see him kickstarted back into 2026 for Revpro. And Liam Slater, who again, Liam had a really good 2025, has found a great way to build a connection outside of being in ring in Revpro as well. Coming in at number 3, Dave, was Robbie X. Very deserved. Very deserved. Consistent and being everywhere worldwide at the
Isn't
moment.
he, Robbie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and it's again like what we just said about Kanji. If Robbie was given the responsibility with the belt, if he was given main event matches, if he was given the opportunity to like programs and stories rather than just banger matches, he'd be number one. So he makes the most of everything that he's given, and it's almost like it's like, you know, like The Undertaker was always kind of, you don't need to put the belt on The Undertaker because him having a match is enough. Like Robbie X, banger. Now we've got the title match, which needs the title on the line to create the jeopardy to ensure it is a banger.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I've really enjoyed Robbie X more in 2025 than 2024, and that's not to say anything bad about 2024. Just I find this new side to Robbie a bit more edge and fun to watch. So
yes,
yeah,
I agree.
Great stuff there. Dave, we probably know who number 1 is going to be. Who do you think came in at number 2 as best cruiserweight?
So number 1 and number 2 for me surely are Nino Bryant and Leon Cage. In which case, for me, it would be Nino in first and Leon in second.
So number 2, Leon Cage. So yeah, again, Leon, he's had a really great year. He suffered injury, like how quickly that lad came back from the injury. I mean, where we were sat at the anniversary show, we could see kind of a little bit about where the talent were, and even you said at the time, you were like, the way he's like moving around, you're like, doesn't look like he's gonna be back for a while. And it was what, a month or month 2 later, like not in the grand scheme of things, not that long, and came back like he hadn't missed a beat.
3 broken bones, like it's not like it's just one break that needs to repair, like 3 separate breaks. That's and the way he's come back.
Yeah.
Like how can the kid not have any rust on him whatsoever? He's like a little peek behind the curtain. Getting to spend the day with him at the Spinebuster taping that I did. So getting to see everything. I won't go into detail because I don't want to ruin the magic of everything.
Of course.
But getting to see the process up close and personal was such an eye opener. Like the kid is years beyond his age, not just in terms of his in-ring talent, but his just confidence, maturity, understanding, awareness, like just top. And Shane Hook the same. Like absolutely the same. It takes 2 to tango, and it's Leon did not carry Shane in any way whatsoever. It was a great collaboration. But he is undeniable also. Like Jay Joshua, he is undeniable. And the 2026 that he's going to have, and, you know, I say this for everybody, literally every wrestler in the world, this is all preying on good health and good fortune when it comes to every bump they take, every landing they take, every bloody hip toss and headlock takeover they take, whether it, you know, it doesn't have to be a drop on the neck. Like all of those things, if he stays fit and healthy, as we want everybody to, he's going to have a terrific 2026. And who knows what the future holds for that young man, because he's the most talented youngster I've seen since Leon Slater. And Leon Slater is going places 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, terrific.
everything you said there, I think I once summed up and I said to him face to face, when he just gets it. Whether it's
Yeah,
in the ring, whether it's his gear, whatever it is, he just gets it. Um, yeah, I can't say any more than what you said on that, mate. Fantastic, fantastic year for Leon Cage. Can't wait to see what 2026 brings. So, number one in the cruiserweight division, Mr. Mark, was, as a shock to no one, again, this was another one taking probably around 80% of the vote. Nino Bryant.
yeah,
He has had a tremendous run, the absolute epitome of just being given an opportunity and going, right, run with the ball, and
yep,
scored a touchdown, dunked, or kicked a field goal, whatever your sport is, he has scored. He has found a way to score
yeah.
and score handsomely.
And do you know what? We spoke recently about Nino, and we said about how he's taken the year by storm, achieved so
Mhm.
much. But we also talked about how we felt that it was destined for Leon Cage to be the undisputed British Cruiserweight champion last year.
Mhm.
And after we said that, somebody from within the company dropped me a message just saying, don't forget, Nino was going to be in the J Cup, but Leon Cage wasn't, because Leon was wrestling Caven at the Revolution Rumble. And it made me think that, yeah, actually, our memory of the timeline was slightly
Yeah.
askew. And so it felt very much like Leon was going to defeat Caven at the Rumble. It felt like Caven was going to drop it. It felt like it was the right time. In which case, Nino winning the J Cup feels like it was the play all along. And that then we were going to have at the anniversary show Leon versus Nino 2.
Yeah.
So actually, like, it's the investment in the lad's been there all along, and the way they've built Leon and Nino to be forever rivals, like,
Mhm.
just, it's so good. It's so good
Yeah.
because, like, and without either of them having to be heel, like,
Yeah.
pick your favorite and
Yeah.
invest in your favorite, and then over time we can play with the dynamics.
Yeah.
We can have one lean one way and one lean another.
Yeah.
His I've been super impressed, because when we first saw the Bryant brothers at the Trios Grand Prix in 2024, I thought that they were cool young wrestlers, like loads of potential. But what I've seen this year is, with Nino especially, it's more than just potential. It's current ability right now. And the fact that he has 2 matches in my top 10 of the year, which is really difficult, because you look at it and you think, like, Manders didn't finish with a match in the top 10 of the year, and he had some absolute bangers this year. I don't think Leon Slater ended up in a match in my top 10 of the year, despite the fact that for many people, him and Oku were the match of the year. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the
Yeah.
level, the fact that we can have. But I love the fact that Revpro put these top 10 lists out on Twitter or on YouTube, and then they've advertised them on Twitter, and they've just kicked up a
Mate.
fuss because
Mate.
people are like, well, this is a rubbish list.
Can I just say, right? So, what I found really interesting was we'd conducted our interview with Andy before some of the kick. Like, when I say the kicking off, right? When I say kicking off, I don't mean
Literally a
as
couple of
serious as it
hours
sounds.
before, right?
Yeah, and he literally said, sometimes people think I'm just saying things and I'm trying to get reaction to this. I'm not. I just want to stir up some conversation. So with that knowledge in it, and then seeing this happen, and seeing some of the tweets come out, I'm like, oh dear, okay. And his, and I read his messages, and like, I could be someone that sometimes reads into messages sometimes, and even knowing that, I read into go, that doesn't feel like it's being tried to be read into in any way, shape, or form. It's just a message. But I found it hilarious. I don't know if you saw the one he put out last night. He said our YouTube team are intentionally trying to wind people up again. And I was like, okay, right. That one is a little bit of a dig. Okay.
And the thing that I love is the fact that it's. I feel like they should protect who's making the lists.
Yeah,
Just keep referring to it as the YouTube team.
yeah.
It's not me. I had a few people message me being like, "I saw
So,
your list on YouTube." Nope, not me. Not
so do you
me.
know what? Right, I'm gonna peel behind the curtain. I've not told you this, right? So I set the video on. I'm like, is there any point in me watching this? Because it's just gonna be Dave's top 10 list, isn't it? That was my instant reaction, and I think number 10 on the list, I think was the same as yours,
Yeah,
right?
Mills and Oku.
And I went, oh, here we go. Yeah. I thought there's no point in me watching this video because I already know Dave's list. And then number 9 came and I was like, oh, this isn't Dave's list.
Yeah,
And I carried on watching. Yeah. And look,
yeah.
I didn't agree with all of the lists either. Like, and that's the beauty
But
of lists and opinion, right? Like what they
exactly
see
right.
is, yeah,
This is someone's list. The person who's made the video, it's their list. Like that's cool. But
yeah,
like going back round, the fact that Nino versus Joe Lando and Nino versus Leon Cage are
hmm
two of my top 10 matches of the year. And
hmm
they like Nino on paper isn't my kind of wrestler in the
yeah,
sense that if you were going to describe a Dave the Mark match, like
yeah,
I have particular tastes and preferences. Like there are things that I look for in wrestling, and cruiserweight wrestling, whatever that is,
yeah,
doesn't tend to emphasize those things. It's more about athleticism and an impressive sequences and spots, and that's not my thing. I like
yeah,
realism and story and jeopardy and like that real sense of sporting physical confrontation. But
yeah,
Nino does that. Nino does all of those things in a way that someone his age you wouldn't expect it from because they're
yeah,
skills that take time to develop.
yeah,
And someone who, whilst a lot of his rivals and competitors will be focusing on doing
yeah,
the sequences and the spots that go viral and get people talking and get people off their seats. And, like there are particular things where it's like, we hit this, we go down, we hit this, we go down, we hit this, we go down, everybody stands up and gives us a standing ovation. Then
hmm
this is awesome chant starts. It's like they can literally plan for these things to happen.
hmm
And those are the things that, tropes. I hate anything that's a trope.
hmm
And Nino's like the antithesis of that. And that's so impressive. I've
yeah,
really, really enjoyed everything he's done this year. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. And again, the Joe Lando rivalry, the
hmm
Leon Cage rivalry, the relationship with Michael Oku, really, really interesting. And like, I want to see where they go. And like, starting off this week, Nino Bryan versus Shah Samuels is a match where you're like, oh, there's a lot to that. He's a very
yeah,
three-dimensional character. There's a lot that they play into with. They've been very open about how he came into the business and him being a youngster that went to Revpro shows and him being trained by certain people and with certain people and him now being a London School of Wrestling coach as well. Like there's
yeah.
loads of real world blurring of the lines, and it all adds to a really interesting dynamic.
I think so too. And look, one of the things I think is most interesting about Nino is it's not just the, like you said, the spot, right? That you
Yeah,
can do is he knows when to deviate and when to do something that you can see the crowd are reacting with. And that's what I find most impressive is that when you go beyond that plan, you can see in him when he's doing something. And that's what I'm seeing actually I saw with Leon at the weekend as well. I saw, and this, no surprise why these two young guys are near the top of our list, or sorry, at the top of the list, because they both know. One of the things that Leon Slater got praised a lot for recently was his match with AJ Styles, where AJ fumbled something and Leon was just straight on it. and you go, well, no one in the system would have done that. But these young guys, they all know now this is what we have to do. We have to continue it and just not go, this wasn't the plan, so let's do something else. Like, just go with it. And that's what I found most impressive. Looking at what the people are saying, incredible growth. Someone said the great title reign. I'm going to agree with this comment as well. Arguably one of the best Cruiserweight Championship runs in recent time, having some of my favourite matches of the year. Agree with that. It was a slow burn reign for me. And I kept saying, he's going to lose it, he's going to lose it, he's going to lose it. To the point where he became undeniable as well, that we were talking about, are they going to have this big match in Uprising, going, but we can't have him lose the belt there, because that just feels like you've got your opportunity to make someone by having them win the belt. And they didn't. They decided to make someone a couple of weeks earlier and give him fucking amazing, well-deserved spotlight match against Ricochet.
Best title reign for me since Robbie X.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna edit this comment from Ewan slightly. After the last title reign, Nino restored some class and quality to the matches not seen since the Oku and Jacobs reigns. The matches with Robbie X, Leon Cage, and Joe Lando were all outstanding efforts. And the last one I'm going to read from Lottie was brought a new life to the Cruiserweight division and created competition like never seen before. Yeah. I think for a generation of new fans coming through, this is going to be like the best reign that they've seen, because they wouldn't have been here for the old stuff. So, yeah, nice. Nino Bryant, well deserved. Which then leads us on to Tag Team of the Year. Now, this was an interesting one for me. When I was in March time, you might recall I was doing a thing called Power Rankings. I stopped them because it just didn't seem to be something people were that interested in or get that much around, and it took a lot of time to do. But one of the things I found most interesting when I was doing it was, at the time, the tag team was 2 teams. And then I said to you, unless a new team get introduced at some point during this year, the only option I can see is CPF becoming a team rather than just a trio in Revpro. So we got 4 nominations for Tag Team of the Year, Dave. So the team that had, and this, to kind of, I'm not going into vote counts or anything like that, but this team received 1 vote and broke into the top 4. So we're just going to give hats off here to Rising Tide, who, yeah, it's one of those scenarios where I'm like, hey, these guys have done much more singularly, but I just think someone said, this is my favourite tag team. So fair play.
Does that mean that the Machine didn't make the top 4 at all?
The Machine did not make the top. No, they just did not. Yeah, they were not included in this. So coming in at number 3, and again, number 3 and number 2 were like that, pretty much like 1 apart. It was, make sure I get this right before I say it, Jay Joshua and Connor Mills.
Wow. So your tag league winners, and one half of probably the number 1 and number 2 tag team matches of the year.
Yeah.
I think their match with Young Guns and their match with Cowboy Way, for a lot of people, they're the tag match of the year, or
For me,
the other. And
yeah.
then also then there's the CPF and Young Guns Revolution Rumble one as well.
I was going to say they're my top 3 tag matches.
They're probably your top 3 tag matches of the year, aren't they, for everybody? And then you can just take your pick as to which one you preferred. It goes to show that they're so much more than just, we'll put these 2 together for a little while, because it gives, you remember like Jay Joshua turning on to Zaya and hitting him after the bell was kind of like the first time where you felt like Jay Joshua was here to stay. Rather, like we talked earlier about like Shane Hook and James Ellis and people like that who come in, have a few matches, and then we see what happens. That was when we're like, oh, okay, we're definitely going to do something with Jay, because this is a bit of story to him now. But was it a story to just get to a Global Wars match? Was it a story just to get to a title shot? And then it was, well, no, because now they're champions, and then they lost the belts, but they stayed together as a team. So shows there's been longevity to that tag team, which was not necessarily always going to be the case. And yet again, you can always rely on Mills and Joshua to deliver a really high caliber match.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, mate. Like, the year that they've had is like the start of that year. I think the biggest compliment I can give them was when the match at Epic Counter was brought up as a possibility, and then the graphic appeared. We're like, this is way too early for them to lose the belts. And but it also felt like Young Guns at that point were undeniable as well. So that showed, like, it's a testament to them that they've managed to get to that level where people were fully invested that much in them that they're going, this is like one of the biggest teams that we want to see as champions, but we still can't have these guys lose yet. Like, their year has been fantastic. I said my my dream for the Great British Tag League final was somehow working out a way where it's a tag team triple threat with Young Guns in there as well. That's just me being greedy. I think Cowboy Way and Mills and Joshua going into the finals of that, it was absolutely the right decision and put on one hell of a match. I've not watched it back since. I need to watch it back. I like to leave it a little bit of time to breathe before I watch it back again. And yeah, I can't wait to give that one another watch. Some of the comments that we had, Dave. Entered the year as champions, have better quality matches. Oh, okay. Hayden he's coming out with a hot take here. Entered the year as champions, have better quality matches than the Young Guns for my money, and a win-loss record to boot, having swept the Great British Tag League. That's a call. That is a call. I think, look, I when I say a hot take, I think it up there is the quality of matches they've had. You could make an argument for it. I'm not sure I'd agree, but that's saying that we've got like a team who are a 9 or a 10 for me, and a team who are an 8.5 to a 9. Like,
I don't agree. I also don't disagree. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, I can see why people think that. They're neck and neck.
Yeah, the iron sharpens iron mentality brought the best out of both competitors, while their contrasting but also complementing styles created a much-watched team. That was from Aaron. Absolutely agree there, Aaron. And then I'm going to end this one on, what does Sharon have to say? Similar to my Jay reasoning, in my opinion, lost the belt too early, though the match itself was a blinder. Tag team, Dominated Tag League had her match of the year against Cowboy Way. Yeah, wonderful stuff. And that takes us into second spot, Dave, who this team literally pipped to the post with one vote more. And that was CPF.
Yeah.
So again, we spoke then a little bit about CPF in that Revolution Rumble match. But Dave, do you want to talk me through what the year has been like for CPF in your mind?
I think for me, it's been the fact that CPF have been given stories to work with rather than just being booked for matches. And that's what's made them have a standout year, because it's shown some range and it's got investment. The use of I never liked the trios trophy concept. I liked the trophies. That's cool. They get to walk around with trophies. It's like Owen Hart and the Slammies back in the day. But I never liked the idea of the cash-ins. I didn't think it was sustainable, and I didn't think that it felt like they'd kind of made a booking kind of burden rather than a booking kind of freedom. But they navigated it well in the end by having it lead into a storyline. And the fact that we're now facing Danny Black and Joe Lando this week, and that match being announced is probably what is going to mean that my little girl's going to come to Portchester Hall just to see that, because she's fascinated by it. And that just is just like the tip of the iceberg of how much people care about CPF. They have such a big fan base, and those things don't. You have to cultivate a fan base. You have to work for it.
Yeah.
And they've done that. Jay Joshua the same. It is something you can manufacture, but you have to work for it to manufacture it. And there has to be some earnestness to it, because other people have tried to manufacture it and failed because it feels forced, whereas with them it feels natural. But they've grinded away, and I'm more interested to see where CPF go in 2026 than I was this time last year. Bearing in mind, last year you'd say that we were starting the year with CPF even kind of higher stock than they are now, because right now it's like Joe Lando has high stock, but CPF as a group haven't had the best 2025 in terms of win-loss records, championship matches that they've lost, etc. But I'm curious to see where Danny and Joe go. I'm curious to see what happens with the absence of Maverick Mayhew, the replacement, in a sense, of Taylor James. Just all kind of aspects of it. They've done really, really well to make their moments matter. And I think a credit needs to be paid as well. I think Joe Lando has been the in-ring worker of the year from CPF. But Danny Black has been the one who has done the most with the backstage reactions and the promos and all the work to make the storylines feel as real and authentic as possible. Like he's a very underrated talker and an actor, for want of a better word, in terms of those bits.
Yeah, he's been great as hell in the story alongside it. And the thing that I'll say about CPF as a team, so up until about March, it was very much heavy trios. As we end the year, it's mainly around singles titles. But throughout the year, they've always felt like that team as well.
Yes.
So it's not felt like, right, we're our number 2 tag team for this period of the year. And I would say that Young Guns throughout the year have been a team more than a team. When you look at the Machine, you had your little dalliance with TK Cooper, but they have been a team throughout the year, those sorts of things. Whereas these guys, they have done it all. They've been a trio, they've been singles, they've been, I think, going into next year. And the thing with me with CPF has always been the same, as I've said to you. Like, one, trios wrestling, I find it hard to really grasp unless I'm there live. It's one of those ones I'm like, I don't know what it is on TV. It just doesn't do the same for me. But they're all really great in ring. Just give me something to care about. Give me something to care about outside of a cool look, cool moves. Give me something to care about. And they've done that. The end of this year, especially this match of the weekend, I'm like, yeah, cool, bring it on. Like, that's what we want to see. I'm really hoping for a Danny Black title switch as well. I don't think it will happen, but I'm really hoping for it because it'll just add that little bit of extra intrigue into it.
Phoebe and I were talking about it last night, and she kind of just took a moment to think, and then she was like, I think I want Danny Black to win. And she was like, because it's not, none of this is really his fault, is it? It's all come from Joe Lando, this whole situation. And it's just like, the fact that she's like properly thinking about it and not just, and she's my wrestler of the year because she's my favorite. Like, you've got that side of her fandom as a little girl. She's still only 9.
And to be fair, she did say they're really cool and nice.
She did say they're really cool and nice, because her why is really made me laugh, because she is, for a little girl with an awful lot of confidence. When a camera's pointing at her, she's always singing, dancing. She is like, like when you see these like the old X Factor things, and they'd show a clip of somebody on X Factor from when they were a kid, and they're just performing around the house.
Yeah,
that's Phoebe. That is Phoebe completely. But she is still just like a little girl, a little year 5 girl at school. Like, she looks much bigger and older than she is, just because we're a family of giants. But yeah, she's fully invested, and she's going to make the decision on Sunday if she comes or not, because we're in Essex on Saturday with family.
Yeah.
And that could potentially be a late night. So she might be absolutely knackered Sunday morning. But I think it will take a lot for her to not come.
Yeah. Yeah. And that just shows, doesn't it, how the impact they've had. I love that. But everyone is in agreement, same sort of things, banger matches, stories that matter, like, and how their stock has risen. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how CPF have done this year. I did not see it coming, like, did not see it coming whatsoever, but happy with like ending the year with another top level tag team. Their match at the Revolution Rumble was a standout for me in terms of tag team matches. So that then takes us into the top team of the year, Dave. And this one, again, walked away with about 85% of the votes. Who could our number one team of the year be?
Young Guns, most dominant
Got
team in the division.
got to be Young Guns. I mean, what a year! And look, again, we've spoken about a few other bits. We've had comments from others who have talked about it. Like, for me, their match of the year was the original Mills and Joshua match. That is the tag match for me. For them, the Revolution Rumble match with CPF. I'm still on record saying I absolutely hated that story of how we got there. I think that CPF were made to look stupid. They almost did heel tactics to try and get, and still left, like, every opportunity they had, they were left on their asses, and then still Young Guns walked away as champions when I thought the belts might switch. So in terms of stories, it's just not one I enjoyed in terms of how a lot of it was executed. But I thought that match was excellent, and that was just, it was one of those things that kind of came out of it for me, where I was like, hey, look, I didn't like a lot of what went into it in the lead up, but the execution of the actual match and where they went with it, they were incredible. Dominance, unstoppable year. Both individually have had a great year, but as a team, have had an incredible year. I'm excited to see what happens for them in 2026. Dominance throughout the year. They come from Manchester, will fucking murder you. Absolutely, they do. Always put a class show on. Easily the most dominant set of tag teams in British wrestling. And let's read one more from Matthias. Everyone will know Matthias if they've ever watched WXW or see anything shared by and most kind of the European wrestling on Instagram. Wrestling Focus is his handle. He's great. Undisputed British Tag Team Champions, a great British Tag League, banger after banger against every team they face. There have been a couple of really awesome pairings, but these two are just smoothest combination and never disappoint.
Yeah, I think smooth is a really, really good word for Young Guns, because we can credit other teams, like saying that Mills and Joshua, for example, are like on a par with Young Guns, but they're not. They're not in the way that the Young Guns are they're so attuned with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about them is like so authentic. Like, you genuinely believe that they are the epitome of a team. Mills and Joshua are incredible. There's something like very real about their friendship and the way that, the iron sharpens iron and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't feel like a team that have been tagging for their entire lives, which is what Young Guns uniquely have. You kind of it feels like they were, in primary school tagging together to beat up kids on the playground. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the feel that they give you, Young Guns, and it's so unique.
Yeah.
And dominant is just the number of times you just said dominant in people's comments. That says it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just laughed at myself because just before, as we were on air and we were chatting earlier, I posted that little clip I said to you from our sound check that I was going to post. I just posted it on Twitter. I said a sneak peek behind the scenes of the podcast, and literally you said Joshua is awesome, and at that second he liked that post. I was just like, it just took me. I love it when the universe lines things up and just does that. Yeah, look, The lads have been great. Their tag title run, despite how long they've had the belts for, and we're coming up to what 9-10 months almost now.
And again, we have to caveat this, right? 9 or 10 months in Revpro is a lot longer than 9 or 10 months in any other British wrestling promotion because of the schedule.
Yeah, exactly. But also alongside that, it doesn't feel like we're anywhere close to the end.
No,
Like,
not at all.
Yeah,
I
I've
think
got miles away from this.
9 or 10 months is the equivalent of 30, 35 shows.
Yeah.
Whereas in another company, that would be 9 or 10 shows.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. Yeah, I'm loving seeing where they're going. I'm loving to see them get the recognition this year. I thought Luke had a hard end to the year last year. I thought the end his undisputed British heavyweight title reign was not good in terms of how it was booked, I will say. But the way
chase was so much better than the actual reality.
And I think that's something I can see with the way Jay's being booked already. I think has been probably picked up on in terms of what they did there. But how strong he has been booked with Ethan in 2025, for me, has surpassed everything leading up to that, to the big one. And it adds that extra to the team that they've got that former undisputed British heavyweight champion holder. And you've got the lad who went at the start of the year, who Luke was almost bossing around, it seemed, to now being the equal. And I love it.
100%,
yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. Right. So, Dave, we're at the 2-hour mark. And we've still got a few to get through. So, you know what we're going to do?
We're going to through the matches of the year from the shows.
I'm gonna So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do most improved. While we're on the subject of divisions, I'm gonna do the most improved, best newcomer, and then we're gonna talk the regionals. So that's how I've got on my screen. So most improved. Obviously, that is we did that last year. We did 2, didn't we? I think we did. Yeah, we did a top 2. And this year as well, the top 2 have come in. So we've had a number of people nominated for most improved. And look, most improved doesn't mean that they were bad or anything like that. That's not what we're saying here at all. What we're saying is someone who has taken where they were at the beginning of the year and have just worked so hard to get a better version of themselves. And what's interesting is 2 of our 2 winners from last year both feature on this year's list. So it's really great to see because people are obviously seeing a consistent progression in people. That's what you want. But I'm going to talk you through the list of people outside of the top 3 so you can see the level of people we've got.
Yeah, go for it.
Will Caven, Robbie X, Emerson Jane, Zazaya, Cameron Kai, Leon Slater, TK Cooper, Shah Samuels, Leighton Buzzard, Xander Bryant, Amira Blair, David Francisco, Leon Cage, Kanji, and Sapphire Reed all sit outside the top 3.
But doesn't that also just say that like everybody's getting better?
Yeah.
The whole product is getting better.
Yeah.
Got it, mate. Hit me with the top 3.
Coming in at number 3 was Joe Lando. That is, you know what? That's out of all the names that I didn't see coming necessarily, like compared to some of the names that you see that normally get spoken about. I think, what probably kicked off is people have seen that match against Nino Bryant in Portchester, and they've actually reflected on it and gone, you know what? Everything that he's done throughout the year. You said CPF from an in-ring perspective, he has been your standout, and he has. He absolutely has. But when you look and then you go, this is what he's reached here. And like you said, it takes 2 to tango. So as great as Nino is, he can't do that by himself. He can't achieve that match by himself. No. When you look at everything else that's happened.
Is Nino in the top 2?
Nino Bryant is one of our top 2.
Yeah. So there you go. That just goes to show exactly what you're talking about. 2 to tango there.
Exactly. And Nino Bryant actually came in second.
Nice.
So let's just have a quick look. I've got one here. From peripheral figure to essential figure.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great way of...
who said that?
That one was... Oh, I didn't even realise. Some motherfucker.
Who said that?
That was you.
No, it weren't.
Yeah, it was.
Was it really?
It was you. Yeah,
Oh, that's funny because now it just sounds like I'm just trying to like give myself some credit. I thought that was a really good phrase.
yeah, from peripheral
I
figure
didn't
to
realise
essential
I'd
figure.
said it.
Yeah, that was you. That was absolutely you, mate. And then another one said, always liked Nino, but his cruiserweight run was such a huge thing that elevated him and allowed him to grow into a viable single star for Revpro now. And that was from Southampton Jamie, who we all know and
Yep.
love. Which I couldn't agree more with that. That's kind of how I felt there about Nino as well. So number one, Dave, who do you think is coming at number one for most improved? And I'm just going to say between number two and number one, given that we do this award as a top two, there was one vote in between them. So it's basically neck and neck for these ones. Who do you think came in at number one for most improved?
So my first thought was Leon Cage, and then I was thinking, am I missing someone more obvious? And that was like, ooh, I reckon a lot of people would have said Kanji. So I'm going to go Kanji.
No, Kanji was she was nominated, but she came in at number five, mate.
Oh, okay.
So
I think
number
that's probably
one,
because like her standard was so high already. I still
and
think
that's
she's improved this year as well. I think she's gone from strength to strength.
yeah, that's what I find really interesting is when people how people look at it, and I did wonder whether that was a play in whether that would play into it, but no, it definitely did play into it. She was rated really highly. So I'm going to just read some comments and says breakout year for this person. Has improved majorly this past year and has excelled in tag team and singles competition. Is now undeniable. Has some of the best in ring work and backstage reactions, or more succinctly put, Dave, say less equals champ.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. And but now that is what a compliment to
mhm,
play to the booking, the investment, and the delivery, because
yeah,
Jay has won most improved and male wrestler of the year.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, fantastic.
yeah,
Well
yeah,
deserved.
exactly. And so, like looking at it, he's top three for tag team.
Yep,
Top three for tag team, winner of men's division, and most improved. Like, yeah,
can't really ask for more there.
no, you can't. So well done, Jay Joshua, two-time award winner on this category on the category so far, I should say. Best newcomer of the year. So this is where it got interesting because this
Remind me the
was one.
rules.
This one did have a rule, and newcomer of the year was never appeared in Revpro before 2025. There was two votes I just discounted purely because two of these votes someone had put one called Manders, and I understand
Yeah, yeah.
he's been featured much more this year. But generally, what I've done with these is you're probably going to find that some of these people may have had like at some point one random match in like 2022, right? So I have a look through and go, have they ever appeared before? If they have, how many matches? Like if someone put Natalie Sykes down, who I think
Hmm.
had like maybe one Red Pro match years ago, I
Oh,
think.
did you?
I think I could be wrong on that, but something like that,
Like
I,
Josh
I
Holly is a
probably
perfect example. I did a list of 10 people that I expect to debut in 2026, and Josh Holly. Then found out that Josh Holly had wrestled a random Rev Pro show
there
3
you
years
go.
ago, and you're like, oh.
And yeah,
Like
that
normally,
I
like
yeah
I'll double check for people that where there's a bit of uncertainty. But with Josh,
yeah
I was like, well, I've been going for the last 3 years and I've not seen him once. And it turned out it was just before I started going. And you're
yeah.
like, oh,
And to be fair, the perfect one in this list of that epitomizes that is Emerson Jane
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
she had, but for a lot of people, she'd been gone that long that it was practically a
And
newcomer.
also
So,
when she appeared before, she was Sammy Jane.
yeah,
So
and
like
that's
that also adds the
that
element of
that
like, oh, is
yeah
that even the same person?
that does play into it for me as well. And I also kind of look and go, is it going to affect the votes if I allow this in and it shouldn't be? Is it going to impact much? Does this change who the overwhelming majority is as well and all that? So I looked through the rules, I looked through the list, and I've gone. No, we're good with this. So what I have done, because a couple of the top names that have appeared on this um, had 5 matches in Revpro this year, and I think my rule was less than 5. And I've gone, you know what? That seems really arbitrary.
Yeah,
Democra-
5 or
dem-
less.
democracy rules here, my friend.
Stick a
So
line under that
I'm
inequality.
I'm gonna talk you through the list of people who didn't make the top 3. Um, Emerson Jane, Shane Hook, Tommy Vril, Myla Grace, Miyu Yamashita, Fuego, Archie Cole, Angel Reyes, Liam Slater, Adam Priest, and Leon Cage all missed out on the top 3. So, Dave, I'm going to ask you, right? I can tell you now, between the person who came in third and the person who came in first, 1 vote separating.
Oh, wow.
And the person who came in second was separated by the fact that you and I had um, our picks in there, and that's how I got that. That's how I got second. So second received the same amount of votes as first, but first was determined by the co-host tiebreaker.
Interesting.
So I want you to talk me through who you think the top 3 will be.
So Mercedes Monet, Kuro, who are we missing?
Do you know what? I'm going to stop you there.
Cowboy Way. If we're looking at it,
I'm gonna, yeah, that doesn't count. Cowboy Way as a team, it was, but I'm gonna stop you there because you've got 2 of them. So we're gonna go with that. Kuro came in at number 3, and that's who I had as my newcomer of the year. I had Kuro in there, and I think he's been an absolute revelation. I think he is an absolute star. Like
Yep,
the
me too.
way he carries himself, I did not realize how big the guy is in terms of physical presence and stature until I stood next to him for a photo. I'm like, this guy is huge. Like I thought he was a bit of a more slight frame, bit shorter. No, like the guy, he is a guy you could strap the rocket to. I would love to see him be more featured in Revpro in 2026. I hope that there's the opportunity to work with him more. He's just a star, and the only thing that I think for me would stop that happening would be him being picked up by an NXT, because I think if the world is watching, and they clearly are with Leon Slater, and looking at the young wrestlers out on the scene and people that he's worked with, Kuro could be one of those people that gets picked up as well. He's just got presence, everything about him. So yeah, he came in at number 3, which leads us to our number 2, Dave. So number 2, joint win with our number 1, but losing to co-host decision. Tom Shire. So, and that was an outright vote for Tom. That wasn't Cowboy Way.
Yeah.
That was an outright vote for Tom, which I love that, because look, the guy came in and you could look at it one of 2 ways, right? The one option that you've got is that you've got someone who's coming in and his tag team partner is already so beloved, right? So are we going to say at the moment that he is benefiting from being with someone so beloved, right? But it also is a big shadow to have to step out from the side.
Yeah.
Because if you debut them as a tag team, they're on an equal standing from the get-go. But when you've had Manders over here for a few appearances beforehand and generate the connection that he does with people, and then have the tag team version be so prevalent, it could be a detriment to him. And he has personality, but he has a more of an understated personality in a lot of ways to Manders, who's a bit more brash and out there. So they really complement each other. They've got similar personalities, but very different ways of executing that personality as well. And the thing that, when I think of everything, right, so I think of his match with Michael Oku at the 229, which I think it was really underrated. I think it was such a great match. And it felt really old school. No one feels like they're doing what Thomas Shire does. He feels like the throwback in the most like logical sense of the word. But it was the all-star tag for me, where someone said about that tag match, that felt like a party, that match. The first 10 minutes, it just felt like a party. Every single person was getting a chant. And then obviously as you start getting around to their team, you think, is Thomas Shire going to get the chant? Because these are all big name
Mhm.
people, right? And Manders is someone that's ingratiated himself with Revpro. And we've got to turn around for Thomas. You could see that he wasn't quite getting the chant. And he just played up to it and eventually elicited that reaction as well. Like he really played up to it. He got it. And I think that's the sort of thing that, again, it really grabs people and makes people care. The emotion about why they should care for a person. It doesn't always have to be everything they do in the ring in terms of the matches. Sometimes it's just showing them a reason to care for a person. And that's enough. Then when you talk about the match and you talk about the Great British Tag League, you talk about the Michael Oku match, I think it's been a home run. I think it's clear that he's coming back because North have announced that um, he's coming back with Manders in February there, and also the way that Manders' time at Uprising ended. You got to imagine that TK Cooper wasn't just attacking alone, that
Mhm.
potentially there is a machine that wants to stop Manders. So, yeah, I was really happy to see him take that second spot.
Sounds good, mate.
And then the winner. Who do we think the winner is then, Dave?
The CEO.
The CEO, indeed, Mercedes Moné. Which look could have been anyone else that won Best Newcomer to Revpro.
Yeah, like
Like, yeah, we spoke about her at length, and star power and everything like that. Never did I think I'd see Mercedes Moné in the Doncaster Dome. Never did I
mm,
think I would see that she was at the Hangar in Wolverhampton, Crystal Palace Arena, all of that in bloody Vale Sports Arena in Cardiff. But she's come in, she's done the job, she's worked hard, and she has absolutely bossed it.
absolutely, mate.
Wonderful.
Nothing to add there. Nothing to add at all. It's been a sensation.
Wonderful stuff. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at our our regionals. So, Dave, best live in show. So I put this one out as just well. Actually, no, we'll do the best live in show after we've done the actual regionals first. So let's go with best London regional match. Missing out on the top three was Kanji and Emerson, Manders versus Leon Slater, Rio versus Emerson Jane, and
Hmm.
CPF versus Connor Mills and Jay Joshua. So coming in at number three, Leon Cage versus Leon Slater.
Yep. First 229 of the year.
Indeed. Number two, Leon Cage versus Nino Bryant.
Yep.
And coming in at number one, Nino Bryant versus Joe Lando.
I couldn't argue with that better. They're
No,
my top three. They're my top two. They're definitely my top two. I'd have to think about the third one a bit more. But yeah, I mean, they're the two that made my top 10 of the year. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were absolutely great matches. And I found it really interesting as the votes were coming in that it was being dominated by Leon Cage, Nino Bryant, and Joe Lando for a period as
yeah,
well. So yeah, absolutely great stuff there. It's really interesting. We contrast London to Sheffield, right? Because
yeah.
we 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 often say Sheffield is
Piss and
piss and
vinegar
vinegar
country.
country. Yeah. So let's look at this. So at the bottom of the list, this one really surprised me. I actually had a conversation with this person. This was from Chris. Young Guns versus Mills and Joshua made Chris's list as best Sheffield match of the year, which I
Mm.
actually found that to be really underwhelming. That match, just the way it played out. Um, Rio versus Kanji versus Danny Mo versus Alexis Falcon made the list. Trent Seven versus One Called Manders. Nino Bryant versus Robbie X. Liam Slater versus Kid Lycos, which I actually
Really underrated
went
match.
really underrated. Yeah. Leon Cage versus Leo Rush. Jay Joshua versus Michael Oku. RKJ versus Zazaya. So they were
Hmm.
our ones that missed out. Coming in at number 3, Kanji versus Rio.
Yep.
And coming in at number 2, Jay Joshua versus Trent Seven. Missing out to the Slaters versus Michael Oku and one called Manders.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. I mean, you're talking about there the one of only 2 matches to make my top 10 of the year that wasn't for a title, so
Yeah.
didn't have all that extra drama and jeopardy, and was just a like no kind of real previous story, just 2 guys together for the
Yeah.
like first time. Whereas like
Yeah.
the Oku and Mills match that made my top 10 of the year, had it just been based on like the in-ring, probably wouldn't have been top. Well, it wouldn't have been top 10.
Hmm.
But all the history around it and the callbacks and the there's just everything about that wider story benefited it.
Yeah.
That I'm really surprised that Trent and Jay Joshua wasn't a runaway winner, if I'm honest. But the Slaters and Manders and Oku was really strong. It was one of
Yeah.
the early, I think it was the first Sheffield of the year, main event
I
of the
think
first Sheffield of the year.
you're right. Yeah. Would
Um,
make sense.
and it fed into the epic encounter story. And it, I think Manders turning on Oku was one of those moments that not many people saw coming. So I
Yeah.
can see why.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's move over to Southampton then. Connor Mills versus Danny Black and Kanji versus Zoe Lucas both got nominated. I just want to say about that match again, Kanji versus Zoe Lucas in particular, really different how I was expecting that one to play
Mm,
when it came out actually. I wasn't expecting that to be quite so hard hitting, and I wasn't expecting Zoe Houdini like we got as well. I thought it was really fun, and just one that I thought was going to be a bit more of a when I say a typical Kanji match, I mean like one that's more like it seems like honor and respect based, but it
yeah.
actually felt like in that one felt like it could have been a Sheffield match in the sense of Kanji was out to cause damage, like
Mm.
and really show intent in that one. So yeah, I really like that match. Round out our top 3 then, Dave. Cowboy Way versus GYV.
Mm-hmm.
David Francisco versus Michael Oku comes in at number 2.
Interesting. I thought that would be number 1. It wasn't my number 1, but I thought it would be number 1.
No, it wasn't my number 1 either. You and I both had the same number 1 because I actually thought this one would have to invoke the rule at one point
Yeah.
because these 2 matches kept going up like that. Get one gets 3, one gets 4, one gets 5, one gets 6, one gets 6, the other gets 7. You Sorry, mate. I had to do it. Had to get the algorithm in there. But no. Then the other one pulled ahead towards the end. The winner of this this category, Leon Slater versus one called Manders.
Yeah.
Uh,
Unbelievable match.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think I'd go as far as to say it's my favourite Manders match I've seen.
Mm,
When I say that, the 2 matches he had with Leon, I kind of I could split hairs between the 2 of them.
yeah.
But yeah, in terms of singles matches, and then the best tag match being the anniversary tag match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable contest.
I was asked by Jamie at Grapple Theory to do a list of certain subjects and kind of put some points out there and best rivalry was one that he has, and there's everyone's gonna be nominating like the top level things, but I said the one that I thought was really like played under the radar this year in terms of rivalry was Manders and Leon, because
Mm.
the matches they had escalation in each one, but they were also very different types of matches considering how close they were together as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good
I really
points.
love those. Also interesting so far that both one called Manders and Leon Slater feature in the Sheffield match of the year and Southampton match of the year.
I think there's some similarities between those two places, those two crowds.
I do. I think there's, and where I see it slightly different is when you look at what comes in second in Sheffield, more piss and vinegar, and in Southampton, a little bit more sports entertainment. And that's not meant in a bad way. And I think that
But
typifies
I
the
do think that's
differences. Yeah,
probably that's the yin and the yang between the two
yeah,
places.
yeah,
Southampton
absolutely.
definitely enjoys a little bit of entertainment.
So then that leads us to Coventry Regional. Let's see. Do we think that Manders or Leon Slater are going to take the match of the year in Coventry? Well, coming in here that didn't make the top three, The Machine versus Trent and Mark Haskins.
So I thought that would be top three.
I thought that was very good. It surprised me it didn't make top three. Nino Bryant versus Leo Rush. Nino Bryant versus Joe Lando. CPF versus the Bryant brothers.
Yep.
So again,
really good matches.
You spoke earlier as well about having similar people in locations as well. This is what the payoff is, right?
CPF and the Bryants feel like two people that Coventry was built around.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in at number 3, Connor Mills versus Luke Jacobs.
Yep.
Very good
that was
match.
underrated.
Yeah. Number 2, Jay Joshua versus Isaiah.
Yeah.
Number 1 is, out of all of the regional shows, this is perhaps the most runaway. Or actually, it is not even perhaps, is the most runaway choice. And when I'm reflecting back on my matches of the year, this is in contention for Revpro match of the year for me. Kanji versus Miyu Yamashita.
Yeah, that makes me really happy. I loved it. I just wasn't sure if it would be as well loved by the wider audience when there were some more obvious kind of, last man standing matches and no disqualification Coventry street fights that it's competing with. In fact, my top 10 of the year, I never kept more than a top 10.
Yeah.
But I know that this is 11th because it was the last match to fall out of the top 10.
Okay, yeah.
So effectively, this would have been 10th if Mills and Oku hadn't pipped it. So yeah, and to be honest, Uprising had 3 matches make the top 10 of the year. So I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting this one to survive the course of it. But yeah, incredible. Like more and more and more and more and more Yamashita, please.
I remember messaging you. I'm not going to claim that I know lots about Yamashita in terms of matches. I've seen a few matches. I've been very pleasantly surprised. Not had the pleasure of seeing the Yamashita match live yet. I will do when I go to Wrestle Queendom. I believe it's Yamashita versus Jamie Hayter, which I'm looking forward to tremendously. But yeah, when I saw the graphic, I think I messaged you and said,
You did.
This is going to be a good one. This is one of those ones where
of all the people, like, because of how much we talk about wrestling, you know what I like more than anybody else. So when you tell me you're going to really like this match, I'm always like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and I think this one had the potential for me, even with the people involved, to just have. I say this a lot, and this is where when I talk about Mills and Joshua, the second match versus the first match, or when I talk about Luke versus Ishii, the second match versus the first match, sometimes a match can build up so much in your head that it can never possibly achieve the expectations you set for it. And I did worry that this one would do that for me, is that I was just so up for it that it just wouldn't be able to reach the level. And no, it's one of my top 5 matches in the entirety of Revpro this year. So, yeah, so there we go. There are regional matches. And I think that's what I like about that is we've got cruiserweights dominating London. Sheffield was about the piss and vinegar, but it was a tag team match that won it there. A women's division match winning Coventry, and then Southampton having that mix of a credible match like Leon and Manders versus Dave Francisco and Michael Oku in second place there as well. So,
Variety, isn't it?
Yeah. Dave, let's talk about import wrestler of the year. So, import wrestler, let's see how what I said about that. Import. How did I clarify that one? Yeah, this was fewer than 5. So that was the differences between being an import to being a regular established person was 5 or less, not on the newcomer. So coming in at the bottom of the list was Naito. Then it was Zack Sabre Jr., Serena Deeb, Shibata, Ishii, Tanahashi. Just listen off like well known, like incredible, isn't it? Endokara, who I hope we see back, Adam Priest, Hechicero, and then this is where I get technical, Blackheart Leo Rush. Because I think we saw 5 or 6 Leo Rush matches in Revpro this year, but the 2 nominations that we had for this one, because outside of that, these were all like the kind of the low random nominations here, and then it was dominated again by another 3 people. The nominations we had were specifically saying Blackheart, and I'm gonna take that as it's very different, isn't it? Blackheart presentation is very different to a normal Leo Rush presentation.
Yeah.
So, number 3 on
the game.
Oh, fantastic music, absolutely fantastic. Number 3, Miyu Yamashita. Like,
wow,
she's coming for one match, and that's the impact she's having. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's a very, very impressive feat.
Yeah. Same. Number 2, Kuro.
Yep. He was my vote.
Yeah. So love that. And number 1, and this is where if we were going by the rules, I mean, to be fair, in terms of both of those, if we're going by the rules, neither would be in the top 2 because Kuro, as we discussed, had 5 matches on
5
4
matches
shows.
Over 4 shows. I'd forgotten the fact that he did double duty in Leon.
Yeah, and the person who won also had 5 matches. We're not going to split hairs here because they were the main winner on this one in terms of they had the most votes. Mercedes Moné, import wrestler of the year. Okay,
of course.
Of course. What I wouldn't have done is I would have had her either winning import or best women's division if we were going to go. Have those there, but okay. So Dave, that will then lead us on to. I'm going to do moment of the year. Actually, no, sorry, best live in. I've missed that. So we've obviously got all of the live in chapters, which we refer to as our regional shows. What I found really interesting on this is the only location that didn't get more than 1 vote in terms of 1 location vote, 1 chapter vote, was Southampton. Only 1 Southampton event was nominated. Coventry had 2. Sheffield had 3. London had nearly every single show across this year nominated. I think there was maybe 2 live-in chapters that didn't get nominated.
That's really consistent.
It is, right? And I think that shows potentially where, again, you've got a lot of your viewing happening in London in person, maybe, or is it the quality of the show? I don't know. It's interesting to see in terms of how that skews things. So I'm going to read. So I'm going to get into that because my vote features in a top 3.
I wonder if mine does.
And actually, it's what skewed. Got this one into the top 3. So, yeah. So I'm going to talk about the ones that failed to make the top 3. Live in London 99, Live in London 92, Sheffield July, Sheffield November, Live in London 93, Live in London 94, Live in London 98, Live in London 102, Live in London
Was
100.
me.
Sorry?
Oh no, I said that was me for Live in London 102, but now I might be getting my chapters muddled up.
Okay, well let's keep. I think you might well be actually getting yours muddled up.
Might have been 101.
So then that takes us up to and then Sheffield, Coventry July, and Sheffield July both featured. So Sheffield July is the one that missed out onto the top three by way of my vote splitting, and that was Southampton, chapter 34.
Which one was that?
That was the one with Manders. I'm pretty sure that was the Manders versus Leon chapter. I'm just going to get what I'm going to do is for all of these, I'm just going to get the card. I'm just going to give a quick rundown of them all just so that everyone can.
I think it was Manders and Leon in the first half and Francisco and Oku in the second half, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure that was the one. That's exactly how I'm thinking of it. And look, those two were probably, and there's more in there. And look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a Dave the Mark that remembers everything. My brain just doesn't work like that. But when I look back on it, yeah, okay. So it was actually one called Manders versus Leon Slater, directly followed by Oku versus Dave Francisco. We opened, was it an opening match? JJ Gale versus James Ellis. We had Alex Windsor versus Amira, which felt like a massive moment in itself.
Yeah, that was a really big moment.
It was Mira's return. Jay Joshua versus
unexpected and unannounced as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Jay Joshua versus Ika Navarro. That was my favorite Ika Navarro match as well, up until that point. Robbie X versus Stephen Wolf was fantastic. Young Guns versus Sunshine Machine got me as well. Everything. And then Ricky Knight Jr. and Leon Cage was in there. I can't remember much. Can't remember much from that, but that was back in February. So, which can you believe that was almost a year ago? That is crazy in itself. Then we move on to what came in at number 2, which was much more recent, and that was Live in Coventry from November.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which I don't have the full card in front of me actually.
Oh, so that was no, but I.
Oh no! The reason I don't have it in front of me, Dave, is because I'm clicking on 2026, my friend.
I was going to say, I can
talk me through it.
So that was the Machine versus Haskins and Trent was the main event.
Yep.
But it also had the Yamashita versus Kanji match. It had Leo Rush versus Nino Bryant. It had the David Francisco versus JJ Gal match, which saw the formation of the new Sons of Southampton. It had Shigehiro Irie versus Jay Joshua. It had one called Manders versus
Leighton Buzzard.
And then I'm missing one. Whatever opened it.
Young Guns versus Rising Tide.
Rising Tide,
yeah. Really strong card. And yeah, I wasn't surprised to see that one coming at second. And then the winner, the best live-in show this year.
This is surely the one I voted for.
Live in London 101, which was Jay Joshua and Alan Angels, Alex Windsor and Mercedes Blaze, the Good Brothers versus Lycos Jim, Leon versus Liam Slater, Ricky Knight Jr. and JJ Gale, Nina Samuels and Sapphire Reed, Nino Bryant versus Leon Cage, and Young Guns versus Kuro and Sean Samuels.
Which is fascinating because that card, nowhere near the strongest card they've put on this year. And other than the Nino Bryant Leon Cage match, none of the matches were blow away matches. But for me, it was the amount of stuff that happened in between matches.
Yeah,
it was it was all the storytelling. It was all the arcs development. It was I remember doing the 10 takeaways for that, just being like, how the fuck am I going to do this? I need 20 takeaways. I'm going to have to write 2 or 3 paragraphs per takeaway. It was just really eventful, consequential, and essential. I loved it.
I remember that one, and I remember it feeling like the most Monday Night Raw slash
Yeah,
AEW Dynamite kind of
yeah.
Revpro show I've ever seen, and that's not a criticism at all. It was really great.
No, that's. I mean, you're talking about the two most successful episodic, right, wrestling shows, aren't you? So
Yeah,
it's got to be a
exactly.
compliment.
Yeah. Moment of the year, Dave. So a few moments here. Shah defeating RKJ at the end of
Yeah,
the anniversary show, the All Star Tag. Jushin Thunder Liger being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Young Guns winning the tag team titles. Nino lifting the J Cup aloft.
that was Phoebe,
RKJ,
wasn't it?
it was, yeah.
Yeah, she loved that.
RKJ defeating Oku at Summer Sizzler. Um, Madcat and oh god, my god, I'm blanking on
James
his surname.
Castle.
Castle. I don't know why. I kept saying I'm looking at Joe Lando in front of me, and I just cannot get Lando out of my head. James Castle, sorry. Madcat and James Castle getting inducted into the Hall of
They were
Fame.
beautiful moments.
They were, yeah, they were great moments. They're so well handled, and they're
Yes.
moments that they're moments that no company should ever have to handle.
No,
But
but they were handled exceptionally well.
yeah, and yeah, everything that they've done around that was great. And just it felt like a moment, which is so lovely for not just the fans to get to show their appreciation, but for the family and friends
Yeah,
to. And I just don't think ever in the history of the world, from this point onwards to what has been, is a keyboard going to get that big of reaction ever in his life
yeah,
again.
yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Joe Lando becoming cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, yeah.
Nino becomes cruiserweight champion, and Leon Slater's heel turn. So that
Ooh,
takes us down to the top three moments of the year. Um, Number three, Mercedes Moné debuts in
yeah.
Doncaster.
I thought
Uh,
that would be in the top three.
yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? I mean, to be fair, was someone actually also put a further qualifier for this, and it was the lap of honor she did at the end of the match, taking
Yeah, yeah.
selfies with everyone. Like that was wonderful. But
That
yeah,
was.
as I said, my Fitbit literally started saying I was in fat burning zone and I was exercising because of the reaction to that. Um, Coming in second place, Zazia's farewell. It was beautiful. It
Okay.
was yeah, no, it was a
Yeah,
beautiful moment. Like as best as you can do those kind of things, it was just yeah,
yeah, yeah. I had my top two moments in my head. I had what I thought the top three would be. And you started off by saying Shah beating Ricky at the anniversary was in
hmm
the honourable mentions. So I was like, oh,
yeah,
that immediately changes it. Which one's not going to be there? I hadn't really thought of the Zazaya moment, but I remember feeling very, very emotional watching it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
completely understandable.
Yeah. Number one, Jay Joshua wins the title in Cardiff.
Say
Uh,
less. It has to be right.
yeah, yeah, it has to be, mate. Has to be. We are
For me, the
nearing
thing
the.
that
Mm,
like for me, the thing that goes to show just how impressive the Shah Samuels title reign was is the fact that for me, my top two moments of the year are him winning the belt and him losing the belt.
yeah,
And the way that I was emotionally invested in wanting Shah to win the belt, and the way that I was emotionally invested in wanting Shah to lose the belt, in the space of just 4 months, and like everything that was just like exquisitely done between the 2 points was just goes to show like the full range of how well he delivered that title reign.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's actually a really good point when you talk about it like that. That yeah, his reign was great, and I still remember speaking to you about it, and you going, no, he should lose it. I'm like, holy shit! Like, never thought I'd see this day from Dave, but
That's it, right? Like the fact that I was
yeah,
so invested in him winning it and then so invested in him losing it.
yeah.
Um, Terrific work.
Which leads me to best babyface of the year. Um, I'm going to talk you through the top, well, top three once I go through the ones who didn't make it, and some interesting ones here actually. So the ones who were nominated but didn't make it: Shah Samuels, Amira Blair, Nina Bryant, Maverick Mayhew, Joe Lando, the team of Connor Mills and Jay Joshua, Trent Seven, Jay Joshua, and then we get to the top three. So yeah, Nino Bryant just missed out. Just missed out.
You've kind of taken loads of the people that I thought would be in the top three there.
Do you know what I'm finding interesting? Looking at both of these lists, right, is that Revpro don't have heels and baby faces necessarily in the same way, right? And you've got a mixture of people who play in the grey, and you've got a mixture of people who are very much on one end of the spectrum. And what I'm noticing by both of these categories is they are dominated by the people who are on opposite ends of those spectrums. And the people who operate in the grey and lean slightly more one way than the other are getting nominations but aren't winning outright, which I find really fascinating. So, number 3 in the best babyface list, Michael Oku. Which he is someone that he does like to play in the grey every now. We've said that, but not the out and out babyface for people. So that was a really interesting one. Number 2, someone that I would say is an out and out babyface, Leon Cage.
Yeah.
And perhaps beating Leon with double the votes in first place is probably the out and out babyface of Revpro. Can she win it?
Yeah.
Yes,
I was kind of thinking the whole time, being like, it's got to be Kanji, isn't it? Got to be Kanji. I'm really pleased.
Exactly. So then we're going to go into the best heel. Now that we're done babyface, I mean, we've spoken a lot about Kanji and why she's just so successful in that babyface role. So we're going to go into the heel. Here's who missed out: True and Lacey as a tag team, Cave and True and Lacey as a trio, the CTC as a faction, Shah Samuels, purely the caveat of Cardiff, which I thought was an incredible nomination. Liam Slater, CPF. So this was from Charlie, who said CPF were heels for the way they decided to bring chairs into trying to take down Young Guns and being a heelish move in the build up to and not getting the job done because yeah, she is. I've got a lot of time for her takes. Connor Mills, Adam Priest, The Machine, Sapphire Reed, Robbie X, TK Cooper. So, and I think I'm just going to check this because I know this one did have a another ruling from. Yeah, so there was. So what I did have to do, there was two where we had to use the ruling for it, and I flipped a coin. I think to see which one would apply to you and which one would apply to me, because second and third were both joint places, and I picked the team or the ones that come in third, and you picked in the person who came in the second.
Really?
And so normally when we have this split, normally one of us can just apply our extra point and move that one up.
But we both applied an extra point and kept them tied.
We both applied an extra point and kept them tied. So coming in at number 3 was Young Guns. And I think the order that this actually appears in is probably the best order anyway, because it makes the most sense for the category. Young Guns, for me, when they are operators of the grey. And when they do go into that nasty, vicious side, that heelish side, there are very few that can match that. It's almost like a pack mentality, despite there only being 2 of them. Luke Jacobs looks almost calm and serene against like vicious, unhinged Ethan Allen. They're tremendous together. Really, really enjoy those 2 together. They came in at number 3. Number 2, David Francisco. The and I think this is deserved him becoming at number 2. The thing that I did not see rated on the best moments list, and I've just gone back through and I didn't see it at all. David Francisco's title win at Southampton. Now we've obviously got the show nominated, and I think the match being nominated highly speaks volumes to that. But everything about how that was produced and to get to that spot, to get to that payoff, I know a lot of that was in 2024 coming into 2025, but to get Dave Francisco to that spot, that they could do that, and it felt like we were looking at each other. I remember you were over the other side to me, and I just looked, and we just looked at each other and went, because they left it running just long enough.
Yeah, it was perfect. It really, really was, because it was a trope that was done so well that the two guys who hate tropes the most fell for it because of the fact that it was like, you're leaving this too long.
Yeah.
Like, this is the band going off the stage for an encore, but the house lights are starting to come up. They're not actually going to come back out and deliver the last couple of songs. And then,
If when you're looking at other things in wrestling that have done this as well, it was when NXT did it for the first time with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, where I don't know if you ever watched this or recorded it. They put the logo came up in the bottom. You're like, oh, it's done, and then it's like, wait, what? Like that's what this was. This was that. And look, love him or hate him, the way that the guy has got himself over in different towns this year, because there was a point when it was London was fuck Southampton, right? That's what it was. To actually hearing people cheer for him when I'm like, what is going on here? Like Francisco's spreading worldwide.
Southampton are ready to chant fuck Southampton.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, I did. I forget when it was. I think it was in Cardiff. I was chanting fuck Southampton.
Yeah.
So brilliant stuff. And then coming in at number 1, RKJ. So
I'm really glad of that, actually, because it's Andy talks about it a lot, doesn't he? That sometimes the heels who are just really good at playing a heel get hated upon for their heelish things that they do, but that's the role that they're playing. So for RKJ to get acknowledged as heel of the year seems fitting, even though obviously neither of us voted for him, because you voted Young Guns and I voted for Francisco.
Yeah, I found it really interesting because I think you've got people who can be quite apathetic to what Ricky does. And we spoke about that. But I said that for me, his run as undisputed British heavyweight champion, while it's not something that I was particularly enthused about when it came out, I was like, oh, where are we going with this? That short run,
I loved it.
I maintain, was better than the Luke Jacobs run. Because it had
better than the Great O'Khan run.
It had intent behind it, full intent behind it. And if we could have that presentation of Ricky throughout the year and the in-ring to match that, I think he'd be one of the best. I really, really do. Number 1, when you think of actual heels on the roster, it's Ricky and Francisco, isn't it? They have to be. So, Ricky Knight Jr. is our heel of the year. So what have we got left, Dave? What do we have left as we almost at time to wrap up? So I realise it's going to be a really bumper edition for people to watch through. So thank you if you've watched it and stuck with it so far. Right, we've got show of the year and match of the year.
Okay.
These absolutely fascinated me, mate. I'm going to start with show of the year because this was a neck and neck between two particular shows, and one vote separated the winner. Coming in last place out of the shows nominated was the British J Cup.
Cool.
Followed by Summer Sizzler. Followed by High Stakes. And the Revolution Rumble.
Yep.
Coming in at number 3 was Uprising. I thought a fantastic show. We have Ricochet and Nino on there, which delivered. We had Mercedes and Rio, which delivered. We had the big title winning moment, which delivered. And
that was my vote.
Some other great matches on the card as well. So, yeah, Fantastic. Coming in second was the 13th anniversary show. So by that, I specifically mean night two,
Yep,
just for separation.
that would have been my second choice.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't for the Sunshine Machine crew moment, would have picked it for first.
yeah, yeah. And look, that was the very small margins we were talking about, right? Was
Yeah,
that? For me,
and
13th
that's also
anniversary.
just to point out the fact that that doesn't mean that one negative outdoes all the positives, because it's still my second favorite show of the year.
Yeah,
It's just Uprising didn't have any moment where I dipped even for a minute. Like, it was literally just keeping me up the whole time. Great experience.
hey, the Blue Chew of wrestling shows.
Ah.
Um, so going into that, then number one was Global
God.
Wars UK.
I was going to say it's got to be Global Wars. That's the only
Yeah,
one that's left, right?
and that was
Um,
my show of the year. And
and
again,
that would have been
very
my third.
yeah, very fine margins between them all. Really great.
Yeah,
And look, I think there's loads of things we can speak about on that one as to why it was so great. And in what is really out of character for me, it was main evented by a multi-man tag.
yeah, yeah.
But
Do
it
you know
was
what?
just so.
That the anniversary weekend
Mhm.
reminded me a little bit of a stag weekend, in the sense that, like, whenever I've done a stag weekend, it's like you go out Friday and you go out Saturday, and Saturday night is like the night where you're doing the stag do, and the
Mhm.
Friday night's like the night out before the stag do. And the Friday night, which doesn't have all the planning, doesn't have all this ridiculousness and the silly costumes and organized fun, it's
Yeah,
just a piss up in a pub somewhere,
yeah,
is always the one that's actually the most enjoyable.
yeah,
But the following one is the one that you remember for all the moments.
yeah,
And that's kind of like how Global Wars and Anniversary 13 worked, because all the high stakes stuff was on the Saturday, but a lot of the most fun talking points were on the Friday.
yeah, yeah.
And both of
I
them
yeah.
combined to make this killer weekend.
Yeah, it was so good, so well balanced, and to see them as the top two, I was really happy about that actually, because I
Yeah.
think there was going into it there was a lot of trepidation because there was still a lot of the card hadn't been announced before we
Yep.
got there, and I understand that from right, from a promoter view, especially with Andy talking about how ticket sales are made now. But I
Yep.
also understand that from a consumer view of that. So it felt like going into it, there wasn't this excitement around the weekend as maybe we would have probably liked a couple of weeks leading into it. Or that it probably deserved, but it paid off massively.
Yeah.
Especially when, because of that, they probably brought a lot of pressure on themselves to deliver a top
Yeah.
level event.
Yep.
Because, yeah,
And there's that also that element of some things not being announced until
hmm
later than they would have liked because of the
of
negotiation to
course,
get
yeah.
the best thing. Like that All-Star 10-man tag's a perfect example, right?
God,
Could
can
have
imagine trying to work that.
could have been announced earlier, but it wouldn't have been the All-Star 10-man tag we got. It would have been the first or second people
Yeah.
that have been negotiating, being like, oh, how about this person? We're like, yeah, that'll do. We'll have that. Thanks very much. Announce it. Or you keep pushing your luck by saying, well, can I have this one instead?
hmm
Can I have that person? How about we
Yeah.
get this person? And like, it
Yeah.
all worked out beautifully in the end.
And what,
And
what was amazing about that 10-man tag was every single person in it made sense from a Revpro perspective.
yes, and that's it, isn't it? That's where the negotiations were worth doing.
Yeah. Right. Takes us to match of the year then, Dave. So, got a good few matches announced here. I think overall there were 11, 12, something like that, different matches announced. How many does it say? Oh, 13. 13 different matches announced. So let's talk
Let's hear them.
the 10 that didn't make the list. RKJ versus Shah Samuels from the 13th anniversary.
Yep.
Leon Cage versus Dino Bryant, Fight for the Future.
Yep.
Kanji versus Miyu Yamashita. Jay Joshua
Yep.
versus Trent Seven. Mills and Joshua versus the Cowboy Way from the 13th anniversary. CPF versus Young Guns from the Revolution Rumble. Shah Samuels versus Jay Joshua from Uprising. Mills and Joshua versus Young Guns from Epic Encounters. I was in that. All-Star 10-man tag from Global Wars. Leon Slater versus Michael Oku, 13th anniversary show. Leaves us with 3 matches. Number 3, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Isaiah. Wonderful stuff, like technical wrestling at its best. And as much as that was an exhibition match, in the sense it was about the art form, that it just showed you everything that type of wrestling could be. So a real technical match getting there at number 3. Kanji versus Mercedes Moné at High Stakes comes in at number 2. A great match, a great moment, and one where I think everyone believed that Kanji was going to take the belt as well. And that says everything. What do you think number 1 is, Dave?
High Stakes Oku versus Leon.
Michael Oku's favourite match of the year.
Yeah.
And look, this was interesting as well, because for the longest time in this, those 2 matches were head-to-head. So we had a flurry of late nominations come in, and they were literally neck and neck the whole way through. And then it started to pull away that bit more. And I have to say, of the 2 matches, that was my favourite. But when I'm saying it was my favourite, again, I'm saying like one was a 9 and one was a 10.
Yeah, and of mine, it was the other one that was my favourite.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a testament to the level of quality that is produced by Revpro, isn't it? Because just you've listed off 13 there. That there's plenty of matches. Just look at the reaction to the top 10 matches of the year that they put out on the list, and the way Andy twisted it by saying, "Cool, let's see everyone else's top 10 of the year," like turning a positive from a negative. And seeing everybody put their lists out, and I'm looking at some of them being like, "Oh yeah, that was really good, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really good. Oh, you enjoyed that one more than that one, did you? Like, that's interesting."
Yeah.
You can't do that with some companies because it's very, very clear what's good and what's average and what's great. And Revpro there's a lot of great, and there's a lot of good, and there's very little average.
Yeah.
And that's, it is testament to it. And you see that because whenever you see someone who is renowned as being a top name international talent, when they come to Revpro, they don't stand out as being exceptionally more gifted than the person they're wrestling. It just goes to show that the playing field is a lot more level in terms of the in-ring wrestling. One might have greater star power. One might be able to cut a better promo. One might have a better look and be able to sell more tickets. But when it comes to the in-ring professional wrestling, Revpro is as good a standard as there is anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And like for me, kind of, I think what got me with this match in particular was I remember like thinking that how quickly it felt it went. So it went on for about 35 minutes, I think, including entrances. So 35, 40 minutes, which is a long time for as soon as they start coming out to the final bell going and keeping you captivated. It kept me captivated.
Especially when you know it's not the main event. You know you've still got a big one to come.
Yep. And I remember the bits that I actually thought they were going to do the change. And I was steadfast in that. I remember I thought they were going to do the switch. I said that to you. I thought the switch was happening. It didn't happen. And I remember Amira coming out because remember, Amira never accompanies Michael out if she's in a match. And she was in the gauntlet match. And she came out and she was almost, we made a joke of it, willing him on with the power of love. And I remember, I think Leon had him in Boston Crab, and Michael was crawling over to Amira, and then eventually won the match. And they're hugging and kissing at the end of the match. I can remember literally seeing Leon, the reaction on his face, thinking, "How has that one got away from me?" It was drama, it was emotion, it was incredible storytelling, and it was pro wrestling at its best.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, can't say anything more than that, mate. Fantastic list.
There we go, mate. There is our awards of the year. So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I'm sorry it took nearly 3 hours, or probably has taken over 3 hours. It's definitely taken over 3 hours. We actually got together at 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 11:30. So we should know, don't we? We talk.
These are always going to be long episodes.
Yeah.
We'll do some post-production magic to snip it down a bit, maybe.
Oh, mate, there's going to be no post production in this. I'm not going to lie. This is going out exactly as it is. The post production would be going in there to get rid of bits. It's all good conversation. That's the point. So
That's it, mate. That's it.
there's no fat on it, mate. So there's fat on me, but not on the podcast. So, right. Anyway, before I continue rambling, Portchester, Sunday. Enjoy yourself, my friend. I'll be watching from home. Let's see what this year's
very
got to
much
bring.
looking forward to it, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Bring on 2026.
Perfect. Catch you later, mate. Bye.